Okay, let's see.
Hello, Spencer. How are you?
Pretty good.
Sir,
That's
yes,
good.
sir!
You know, I'm
In
looking at these tags.
1862, Bulos sailed the United States Blue.
It's
Or somewhere
1862,
around
and
there.
Andrew's about to either stay alert or ambush convoy.
1862. He's out there. It's Andrew. What are we gonna do in the Confederates
Let's try
with our Bulu?
ambush convoy.
Episode 2, Electric Boogaloo.
6 out of 10.
It's 1862. Hey, look, it's Andrew.
What do I need here?
Leading the Confederate States, catching all the baits, or laying all the baits. I'm marking these 332 assignments, and like 50% of people have done this one question slightly wrong, and now I'm starting to think maybe they didn't do it wrong at all.
Yeah,
right?
Sometimes I get that. Where I'm like...
Because if like half the people do it slightly wrong, then maybe it's right.
The Union is massing its army near our capital of Richmond. Almost certainly they are preparing to attack and threaten to destroy our new government prematurely.
I'm trying to do a assignment that is about like packet sniffing, and every time I read packet sniffing, all I can think of is vacuum cleaner filters.
Our reconnaissance patrols reported that one of their most important supply convoys, loaded with heavy ammunition and weapons, is going to pass along the road in about an hour. They are going to meet with General McDowell, commanding about 7,000 infantry, and he needs those supplies. General, this is a great opportunity to ambush and seize those supplies from the Yankees before McDowell arrives with his much stronger army. Local cavalry will join our attack. If we succeed, not only will we use the supply for our army, but we will surely impress our people in West Virginia and get more military support. General, it's going to be a risky process. If the Federals are too strong, it is advised to withdraw into the woods and live to fight another day. Good luck. Okay, so
why do comm site people have to have such cringy names for things?
Have such what?
Cringy names for things, like, you know, packet sniffing, or
yeah,
or YAML and GNU, or you know, like that JavaScript framework,
everything,
which is all based on anime names for each of their version.
It's because they're all nerds.
Not they, it's
like,
we.
But not like in a
honestly,
not like in you know, like an interesting way. They're just okay.
Sometimes I read code names and think I would rather this be just like the name of this guy's anime waifu. Like sometimes what was that one time I was talking about Yifei's code names?
Oh, he just writes sentences for his code names.
Yeah, it was like 2 sentences. Like one variable name was like 90% of the length of the entire like allowed thingy.
Yeah, it's probably something like a patient arrives at this time after this.
Oh yeah. Patient appointment time arriving after appointment time or something like that. It was like, it also sounded redundant and I couldn't really figure out what it was.
Okay, we need to get our cavalry around here very fast. If the supplies escape...
Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay.
I'm trying to steal the enemy supplies here.
It's trying to draw smiley faces.
What was this? What is this, Madden or something? Hurry up! Those Oregon Trail looking mother truckers are getting away.
Yeah. I need to chase them before the actual army shows up.
Where's the actual army?
This way.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It'll show up in about an hour. Real lifetime.
Come on, disengage. No. Supply surrendered. Perfect. Okay, this supplies need to get out of here.
Was the American Civil War one of the last wars where they had like the thin line just kind of come up to each other and shoot from a distance?
Yes. After that, there was a tendency for wars to be more mobile until the trenches, obviously.
Yeah, of course. The most mobile of the wars.
I think we said, as in the last episode. Oh, come on, run, run. No, bros. What if the Confederacy loses? That would be so bad. Aha. Chase down Rollins.
Abolish slavery.
Oh
You're
no.
too sexy.
Anyways.
No, don't abolish slavery. You're too sexy. No. Okay, come on.
No, Lincoln. Don't emancipate them.
Yes, get out of here. Get out of here.
Let's imagine for 1 second that these Confederate soldiers were black women.
Okay, withdraw to the forest. Withdraw. Now we just need to hold these supplies for an hour of in-game time.
Which is an hour in real time, of course.
Yep.
It's like a minute, 27 seconds. Run. Flank them.
Oh no. W. Jones is wounded. That's it. Just take him out of his misery.
It's over, bros.
Take him out of his misery.
No. I'm pretty sure this Davis is the cousin of Jefferson Davis.
Jefferson. Oh right, the president, of course.
How could you forget our president, bro? Famous Montreal resident.
Top Canadian. Became president of the Southern U.S.
People are always talking about fucking Tommy Douglas is the greatest Canadian in history. Yeah, okay. Jefferson Davis.
Actually led parts of the U.S.
Yeah, he achieved what all Canadians want, which is to conquer a section of the United States.
Hell, he was responsible solely for a large disastrous part of the U.S. He's like goals right there.
He actually fucked up the U.S. He did more against the United States than basically any of us have ever done. Arguably bigger deal than the guys who burned down the White House.
That's what
I was going to ask about that. I wanted to come and ask about the whole thing about burning down the White House, because that's like someone I've heard of but never looked into. I just thought it was funny.
I'm not an expert on the War of 1812. Ooh, Carol surrendered.
I can bring a little in, but technically it wasn't the Canadians who burned it. It was the British folks.
Yeah, it was a British raid on the capital. It shouldn't be confused with an actual invasion.
I mean, like, we still like the monarchy, don't we? So we're pretty much British.
Yes.
No, but there's like actual Canadians.
If
in the
anything,
war
we're
as
more
well.
British than British people, aren't we?
No.
Don't they not like the monarchy anymore?
No, they like
Or
the
at
monarchy
least
more
as
than
much as
us.
us?
I know a few,
Oh, okay.
in the early 2010s, Canada had more support for the monarchy than the UK, although that has recently changed.
Recently, there's a report which came out that more than 40% of people don't like the monarchy in Canada.
Yeah,
Well, recently, everyone in Canada has decided to start, like, everyone's just decided to start talking about the monarchy for really no reason.
Well, this was before the Markle interview, right?
Oh,
Or the
okay.
Harry Markle interview. So even before, it was like I was looking at it a couple of weeks ago, and I said to Bennett, it was more than 40% dislike the monarchy. I think now it's gonna rocket even higher.
Last I heard, in the wake of the people who had just watched the Markle interview, it was about 52%.
Who like it?
Who dislike it. So I imagine that is the peak of the dislike for now. Like, I feel like if someone were to be swayed by the Markle interview, the peak of their swayage would be right after watching.
Right. Funny, because I know people who were swayed, who were anti-monarchy, but were swayed pro-monarchy because of the Markle interview.
Yeah,
Which is fun to
Markle,
watch.
in my opinion, has not come off very good in the whole drama. but a lot of people feel differently.
I haven't paid really any attention. I just know that suddenly everyone everywhere is all over the monarchy.
Yeah. Well, if
you want to fill me up on the drama, I would be very happy.
I specifically avoid all royal news that has to do with.
Okay, yeah, me too. So I thought you dove deep into this one, and I was hoping that you could fill me in.
All I know is that Harry divested from the family, moved to Canada.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I guess we just have to kind of start our own monarchy. I think we should make the monarchy Canadian.
Yes, I'm sure you've heard my plan.
Have you ever heard of the Quebec plan?
Yeah, the Quebec plan, as I like to call it.
The greatest thing the French Canadians have produced in legal history.
Technically, I came up with the plan. I think they did the challenge because they thought that it would be like a strike against the monarchy to even have this come up. I don't think they were serious about it.
If only. If only we could turn back time.
We could turn back time to the good old days.
A picture of Jeffrey Epstein pops up on the screen. I was gonna say, oh yeah, we've announced a new king. Jeffrey Epstein has arrived. I think he'll help us avoid future drama in the royal family.
I remember seeing an amazing meme, which like the Meghan Markle interview was the worst interview the royals have had in 85 years, and the caption was like, "God damn, I can't believe it's been 85 years since Prince Andrew spoke to the press."
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What was it? Someone news article was posted, I think yesterday, saying like GameStop spike, once in a decade stock spike, and everyone's like, "Damn, I can't believe it's already been a decade since a month and a half ago." Thinking of, what's it at right now? Oh, it's up, baby.
Jefferson Davis was not from Montreal, right? He just lived there for a few years?
Pretty sure he's from Tennessee. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
It would be very weird if they actually elected a French Canadian to be the first president of the CSA.
Yeah, no, he's from Kentucky. He looked a lot like Abraham Lincoln. My God.
They all just looked malnourished back then. It was not unique to either of those men.
He's just extremely tall, thin, and malnourished.
Yeah.
It's like how everyone had the McDonald haircut back in the day. Though, honestly, looking at me right now, I'm looking more and more like a McDonald haircut.
Yeah, it just turns out not having access to modern barbers is what makes you have a McDonald haircut.
Yes, sir. That's what's happening to me.
I've been doing the great thing of just grabbing a random electric razor and like rubbing it all over my head, and now I just have like some tufts of hair poking out.
Mm-hmm.
It's been working out for me.
You're not going bald, right?
Oh, in our last video, I said the United States government removed Beauregard from his post erroneously. Turns out I was reading a Beauregard biography, and he had privately admitted to a member of the government that he was going to betray the Union, but they should let him have the job anyways. And he got very offended when they, like, fired him anyway, because of that.
It was just a prank. I'm just testing you.
His exact wording was like, if Louisiana secedes, I guess I don't really have a choice. I have to support it. And he got fired. He was, I think he is the shortest serving superintendent in West Point history for a total of 20 hours.
So when did this identity of American nationalism come above? Because that was back when states were like everything.
Yeah, this war was really the birth, in many ways, of the modern American national identity as a cohesive group, rather than as like individual states in a federation.
God damn it, Jefferson. God damn it, Jefferson Davis.
If anything, the Civil War was the worst thing to ever happen to the concept of states' rights.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it might be on the rise again.
Yeah.
Now that things are so polarized.
Honestly, most of it is like, I feel like neither side is willing to secede, mostly because they both want to dominate the entire U.S.
What do you mean, like the two sides of the debate?
Yeah, America's polarized, but it's not like half the country wants to leave.
Yeah,
entirely.
yeah.
Let's see if we can get Jones to disrupt their cavalry. Or disrupt their artillery, rather.
Very good. Okay. Yeah, no, Spencer. Most of the War of 1812 was fought by the British folks with a few good Canadian battles up north.
What is it's bugging out. It's bugging out. What the fuck?
Uh-oh.
Right. The game's bugging out.
Okay, well, we have money now. So.
Did we hallucinate the entire conclusion to the Civil War, boys? Is it still going on? Was it a draw the whole time?
No, it gave me all three objectives, and then at the end it was like draw. Damn, it really do be like that sometimes.
Damn, it's really War of 1812-esque, huh?
Bennett, thinking of hallucinations, you know how you had that schizophrenia dream?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple nights ago, I was asleep, right? And I was having this dream where I found a diary of mine in my dream, and I opened it up, and there was like a bunch of words, and as I flipped through it, it like gradually got more harsh to the point where it was just like bad, like, I don't know, just like angry words, like deeply scribbled onto the paper, like one word per page. It felt like the inside of the prison scribbling in movies. And I just wanted to update you that I'm getting hit as well.
I think it's the CIA mind beams because we've been awokened to what's going on.
I think it's the gang stalking.
Yeah, it's Meghan Markle who's behind it.
Yeah.
We're all facing the schizo dreams, eh?
Are you having schizo dreams?
The royal family has created all this drama purely so that they could become like a further part of our daily news feed and influence our mind even more.
I had my schizo dreams closer to when you had, not recently, but closer to when you had, Bennett.
Yeah.
Where I was starting to, like, I was with my dad walking around and giving him advice on things, and people were talking to me, and I just assumed that no one can see my dad because he's like an imaginary person, just so I can see him. But at the end of the dream, I realized that he's a real person and I'm the imaginary one.
Wow.
That is incredible.
Beautiful.
Yankee cavalry's attacking.
It's quite the plot twist at the end. God, I hate it when people are super creative with their answers, because then I have to actually test them out.
Yeah, that's always rough when you're a TA and it's like, damn, this guy might be correct, but he did this in such a different way than what we expected that I have to actually verify this by hand from scratch.
I knew someone who, and she just said, yeah, whenever I see those, I just give them 100.
Based on not doing your job, Pilled.
Like, what are they gonna do? Complain? They're not gonna complain.
I guess, yeah, you're not gonna get any complaints if you do that, but it's also not what you're supposed to do at all.
I remember that one test where I got the entire answer right, except I accidentally, like, switched up my descriptions of 2 steps. I, like, reversed them. And I had 2 steps that technically didn't need to be there, and I got, like, 3% or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Bennett just looked at it and was like, yeah, that looks about right. And I don't know, man, it really hit hard.
I think the funniest experience I've had as a TA, or one of the most unfortunate experiences, I guess, is there was a person who did their assignment. She's a close friend of mine, and she did her assignment in pairs for one of these for whatever, and they handed it in, and then her partner changed some stuff without telling her and handed in a second time. So she had one part handed in, he had another thing handed in, but they both worked on the assignment. And the TA who marked his gave it a the TA which marked hers gave it a 75%, and the TA which marked his gave it a 45%.
Oh,
which was really, really
good.
bad. And
no,
because the TA who gave the other guy did it later in the day, that means that his mark was given to both of them. And she was obviously freaking out, frustrated, and she asked me to take a look at it. And I was looking at it and like, wow, I agree with this TA completely. And then I realized I was the one who marked harder.
Wow. Got her ass.
Oh, brilliant. Freaking brilliant. No, we had, in high school, we had this one teacher who was like 90 years old. And he would purely mark just based on how much he liked the person. Like, if something was really bad or really good, it would do better or worse. But I think my sister had one time where she deliberately stole someone's work and handed it in. And her friend got like a 92, and my sister got like a 60 or something.
What course is like English or?
This is just English, yeah.
Okay.
Reminds me of the.
It went from like damn near perfect to like pretty garbage. Marked by the same person. She also had a friend who stuffed he did the ultimate thing of stuffing the paragraphs with, I doubt this teacher's ever gonna read this anyways.
Yeah.
And then getting a good mark.
Yeah. In middle school, we had a teacher like that, and somebody like just dropped the word, like the name of the country Djibouti in the middle of a sentence. Something that didn't make any sense, and they got like 100.
We had one of our religion teachers. I submitted typed out every single answer for the whole homework for the year in like week 3. Just because it was all like pretty straightforward and simple. So I submitted the whole thing, and I had one friend who wrote it out, and he literally just wrote random garbage for every single answer. I had 3 answers which I couldn't find the answer to, so I wrote jokes for them, and I got called out on all 3 of them. And my friend got no questioning for his entire homework. I think because he just made his handwriting so bad.
I knew a guy who would deliberately write really, really badly.
Yeah, I will say, as a TA, if someone writes so badly I can't read what they're writing, I usually err on the side of, like, if I can interpret this in a way that they're correct, then I'll give it.
Yeah, so you see that in high school, where he just wrote really badly, and the English teacher would ask him later about what he's writing, and then by then he would know what the answer is. And just move in that direction. It worked like 2 or 3 times before she said, you know what, if it's that bad, I'm just gonna give it a 0.
I think my best middle school submission experience was me and another guy. Like, we both handed in. We had to write like a paragraph. It was middle school. It wasn't that hard. It was like only a few sentences, and me and one other guy just, I'm 99% sure it was completely coincidental, handed in the exact same thing. And I don't think it'll ever be replicated in our lives, but we got like a question for it for days, and none of the teachers could figure out how we cheated. Neither of us could have figured out how we cheated because I submitted the project before he showed up to school, and like, we don't live near each other, or we didn't talk or anything like that. So unless this man stole the assignment out of the teacher's desk and like copied it, I don't know. I still think about it all the time. Did I cheat? Did I not?
Maybe subconsciously cheated, man.
Maybe.
He was just hints about his answer all week.
So does anyone die in this game?
Yes.
Bennett did last time.
I guess so.
Or Elon Musk, I guess.
What are you?
There are like 600 shots fired, and the number goes down by like 3.
Okay, these are also muskets.
Yeah.
Muskets infamously are very inaccurate.
Yeah, the bullets like going straight up actually. Running backwards and shooting the muskets? Not those guys, the guys who are down there. Like if you scroll down. Yeah, those guys. They're like just shooting and running backwards.
Yeah, that's pretty common. I forget what that maneuver is called, but that is definitely something that happened historically.
I'm just surprised.
I think it's called like rear guard fire or something.
How did not like hitting each other?
This game doesn't have friendly fire, otherwise it would be a fucking disaster to use artillery. Because it's like all modeled 2D rather than 3D.
Oh, true.
I want to ask, historically, so muskets are pretty known for being pretty ass. And we had shields for way longer, like, before we had muskets.
Okay, to answer your question,
why didn't people do the thing
shields?
of musket and mount it on a shield kind of
Because
thing?
muskets are inaccurate, but they're not powerful. If you hit a shield with a musket, it sends metal shrapnel flying backwards at you. So
well, I figured
like
it would
a
be
bomb.
like, I don't know, like a hardwood shield or something like that.
you would be
Which it would definitely be destroyed by the musket, but
Yes.
it would probably, like,
But you get
feel like
hit-
it would still be able to slow the bullets enough to prevent a lot of death.
No, well, what would happen is you get hit, the shield gets hit, explodes into splinters, and you get injured anyways. There was a lot of, when muskets first arrived, there was an intersection between people wearing metal armor and using muskets, but it didn't last long, because it was always better to just be more mobile to avoid getting shot.
Yeah, it's easier to just dodge than take it.
It's always better to be more mobile, lines up in front of the enemy.
Yeah, Outside War was kind of back in the day when it just two lined up armies kind of across from each other. At that point,
I
it just
still
all
think,
numbers.
I still think we need to go back to sword and shield. I feel like it would do a good job at preventing a lot of wars, because people would just be able to look at each other and be like, what are we doing here?
I'm sorry to break it to you, but when we did use sword and shield, the times were a lot more violent. I don't think that will.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Okay, but it was
back in the
also
day.
like very different times.
Okay, but
I think
what turned people against war in the first place was its industrialization. Removing that aspect will make people pro-war again.
Yeah, but at least war would be like cooler.
I guess it would. If your goal is to make war cooler, it would make war cooler.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like I think it was the bombing and everything which kind of took away the glory of war.
I
You know,
feel
where you
like
can't-
the sword and shield in like a globalized thing where you could probably just talk to the other guy. I guess they could probably talk
They
to the
talked
other
to each
guy
other back
before
then
as
too.
well.
Yeah.
But like,
In fact, talking was.
I don't know. I feel
part
like
of-
post globalization, sword and shield would play out very differently.
No, people were talking was a huge part of battle in the old days. There would be parleys before battles where the two sides would meet and talk to each other. And there was also, like, obviously taunting. If you were standing close enough that the enemy could hear you, you might as well taunt them.
That's what you wanted to anger and infuriate the enemy.
There was the best modeling of that I've ever seen was actually in a Flash game. There's this Flash game called 1066 where it was like you would play as various sides in that three-way war between England, Norway, and Normandy. And one of the actions you can get your guys to do on your turn is to taunt the enemy, and it will reduce their morale. Whoops. Why did they approach so closely? That's weird.
It's really a three-way war. I mean, it's more or less one guy kept getting sucker punched by two other sides.
Well, no, the Norwegians got absolutely smashed. They
Whoa.
had one engagement with the English and lost horribly.
Yeah, but but like they're both, all three of them, I guess, were just going after the same thing, the same defender.
But wasn't there the one cool guy on the bridge?
Are you thinking of Harold Hardrada's berserker.
Am I thinking of the right battle? And I believe yes.
Stamford Bridge, one of the Norwegian soldiers famously held a bridge against a unit of Anglo-Saxon soldiers and was eventually killed by being stabbed from beneath the bridge.
They don't make them like they used to.
Someone swam into the river and like jumped.
No, they had like a little rowboat they rode under him.
And then jumped.
No, they had a spear. They like stabbed him
Oh, okay.
through the planks of the bridge.
Something hilarious that from the brown dog affair in 1900, that the policeman lamented that the end of the Anglo-Saxon race was near because 2 policemen beat up 10 students.
And I'm here to make sure that guy's right.
Spencer will cause the extinction of English people everywhere.
You British ethnically?
Probably. Aren't you?
I don't really know.
Aren't you old stock, Spencer? If the answer is I don't really know, then the answer is yes.
Yeah, but I thought you said you're old stock, meaning like you came, your family's been here for like hundreds of years.
Like it's very.
Like, we don't really know. Like, okay, we have some from a few different places, but it's like the usual suspects, and it kind of fades back farther than we can reliably say.
Yes, so you're certainly of at least some British ancestry, if
Yeah.
that's the case. It's very difficult for someone to have family here for hundreds of years and no British ancestry.
Yeah. So I do share a last name with a lot of Scottish folk.
Anand?
Yep. The first or second premier of Nova Scotia was an Anand. He just he spelled it slightly wrong though.
How do you spell
How
it?
do you spell it? Yeah.
Jinx. Annand.
Fuck!
So close. So close.
Sorry, Shrey, you're not a real Anand.
Yeah, well, you know, our Scottish cousins did mess it up over the years. Where was Green Guys?
What green guys?
That one.
It just indicates that I selected a unit.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought it was like a third side to the Civil War.
Are you forgetting
Peasants or
about the
something.
part of the Civil War where the orcs invaded?
The fantasy Civil War.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking it's like the peasants in the Russian Civil War.
See if we can sneak around and fuck up the cavalry.
So I really think there should. I was talking to Ben last time. I really think there should be a Russian Civil War simulator where you have like the 4 or 5 sides fighting each
One
other.
game that kind of does that, but it's for furries, is called Tooth and Tail, and it's like a 4-way Russian Civil War.
Sorry, did you say it's for furries?
Yeah, it's got like animal characters rather than humans, but it does the
Oh, that's
4-way
odd.
Russian Civil War.
Why?
I don't know. I guess that's just the style they were going for. I don't know why they went that way.
To really get that massive market, eh? The Russian Civil War enthusiast furry community.
It's a respectable aesthetic choice.
You'd be surprised about what kind of shit. I mean, like, I'm not gonna smear all autistic people with one brush here, but there's like a certain comorbidity between autism and being a furry. So if a niche historical game probably appeals to both of those groups.
Huh, it's released on Mac and Linux and PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 4. Oh
Is it a PlayStation exclusive? Is that it?
Well, it's on the PC and Mac as well. It got nominated for best sim strategy game.
No way. I guess we gotta play it now.
I think I own
Yeah.
it. I tried it, but I'm like, there's too many animals in it.
I mean, yeah, but what about Total Warhammer, bro?
Total Warhammer, the animals are cooler, you know? They've got like more of a lizard
Okay.
aesthetic.
Okay.
Like
Lead the revolution.
Lizardman, I definitely appreciate. I won't knock Lizardman.
Here, lead the revolution with an army of flame-throwing boars, mustard gas lobbing skunks, and paratrooping puking owls.
my goodness.
In it, you control only the commander, and then you like set rally points for troops to fight.
So wait, Bennett, are you saying you don't hate animals, but you only like the good ones?
Yeah, see, I like animals, but I like real animals rather than the furry-eyed animal aesthetic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they are quite furry-eyed. Like this guy has a beard.
Like I don't like anthropomorphic animals. The lizard men in Warhammer are like bestial enough that it's fine. But the ones where they make it like super human looking is just weird. That's my take on furries, anyways.
Controversial.
Pro bestiality, anti furry.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, it's just. I feel like it would just be great without the animals. I'm not sure really what it adds to it, but fair enough.
Yeah, honestly, it seems like a mistake to me to make it about animals. I guess it allows them to take historical liberties where people aren't gonna like freak out at them for doing things inaccurately if the entire thing is like inherently inaccurate.
Yeah, fair enough. No, Lenin was not a mouse.
Problem. The problem.
Lennon shows up as just like a mouse with a chiseled jawline, like massive pecs. Like, what's the Tom and Jerry thing where the mouse has steroids or whatever?
Hey, but I don't think the U.S. was involved in the Russian Civil War, right?
They were on the white side.
Really? I thought they were not. They were
The
isolationists.
entire Entente participated at some point.
I thought they're isolationists then.
They became isolationists later,
Oh,
but this was in like just after the World War I. So
yeah, here it is. William Sidney Graves, the U.S. Army. Oh shoot! I didn't know the Mongolians were also involved.
the Mongolians seceded from the Russian Empire and were actually briefly led by this guy who thought he was the reincarnation of Genghis Khan. It was actually just like this German noble.
Oh,
Roman von Unberg-Sternberg was a Russian German noble who went crazy and thought he was Genghis Khan.
God, this sounds so interesting. The Russian Civil War with just everybody involved. You got the Red Army, the Whites, the Green Army, the Blacks, who are anarchists.
I think Sternberg was eventually captured by the Soviet Union and killed.
Sternberg. I don't see him here.
Roman von
That's all I call
Unberg-Sternberg.
Roman? His name was?
Roman von Unberg-Sternberg, yes.
Yeah, I don't think he's on this list. There's like too many generals to count. Okay, good. Toronto's winning.
Who are they facing?
Winnipeg.
Okay, I don't hear that.
If it's not Montreal, it doesn't matter. If it's not Montreal, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if it's not Montreal, it's just shit, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're fourth in the leaderboard now in the division.
I know. It's a rough time to be a fan of the world's greatest hockey team.
Right now, is this Virginia?
I'm pretty sure this is in the West. It's like Tennessee,
Okay.
maybe.
Oh, he did the Richmond part?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder how the war would have been fought now. Like, which of the 50 states would have,
I think
which way they would have gone.
Like, there's not going to be a war between states if there was a civil war now. It would be a war, like the modern cultural divide in that sense is more along the lines of like rural versus urban.
See, like if the Civil War never happened, so the state rights thing was still like the state nationalism was still quite high.
Well,
versus
the
the
history of the U.S. would be completely different, so it would be kind of pointless to speculate.
Yeah, that's fair. Divide is, I think that's like a big crux of what the West is facing right now. Right, Canada's had a rural-urban divide for decades, which has been really, really extrapolated in the last 2 decades. Though it seems to be more of it's like part of it's rural-urban, but part of it's just like oil and gas based at this point.
Yeah, some of it's environmental.
Yeah. But I guess it's like that's like a lot of history though in general, right? Like I mean the communists in general are very, very urban based. Or I guess just any kind of change force is very urban based. I think the Nazis were also urban based at the beginning.
Yeah. Well,
damn, this just proves the horseshoe theory right.
rural people often had, I think we covered it last time when we talked about the brigand period of Italian history. It was often the case that rural people wanted to preserve feudalism simply because a transition to capitalism would have meant they lost everything. Like, yeah,
it's weird
being
now.
A peasant is kind of like, it's not the best thing in the world, but if you're a peasant, you don't own any land. You're a tenant farmer. So the transition to capitalism kicked most southern Italian peasants off their land and made them like homeless.
Maybe that's why in the beginning a lot of the rural areas were also very, very leftist, even in Canada, whereas kind of like, well, they saw themselves as part of something bigger.
Yeah, there's definitely a collectivist bent to being in rural areas.
Not anymore. Right,
Still,
like now.
Still, like I'd say that now there's like an anti-federal bent to being in rural areas, but there's still the sense of community, and it's not like they don't believe in community in general. It's more they think that the federal government should leave theirs alone.
Well, I remember reading about how, and I think I may have sent this article to you guys as well, but how farmers nowadays see themselves less as part of a community and more as business people.
Yeah, that's
and farmers are being run in traditional business senses now.
That's unfortunate.
Which is obviously pushing farmers right-wing in general, which on top of the general historical tendency to be more socially conservative, is pushing the rural areas towards conservatism.
Well, if they're pushing them away from community and towards business, it might be like the kind of effect where that then pushes them against social conservatism. Social conservatism isn't necessarily good for business, right? Because the focus on anti-atomization and strong community bonds does not mesh well with the whole capital accumulation at all costs.
Maybe, but I mean, like it's different with farms, right? Because the food isn't being sold to the individual; food is just being sold to a massive conglomerate who are not trying to care about socially liberal topics or thoughts. Because at the end of the day, food's food.
Yeah, but that means that there's less like. If their interests are no longer in their community, why would they care about abortion, for example?
Tradition, history. Like, it's not
but
about...
there's no reason for them to be in favor of tradition and history if now all they care about is capitalism. Like, I could see farmers becoming more fiscally conservative and slightly less socially conservative as a trend.
But I assume it looks like the world is generally going less and less socially conservative. Though then you can argue it's also a subjective thing.
Yeah.
Well, this is just my argument on social conservatism, isn't it? Where throughout history, social conservatism always loses because to be socially progressive, you literally just have to do nothing.
That's what we call Whiggish historicism, which is the idea that there is a constant progression towards liberalism. Right? So one example of a in the last century, a loss for social liberalism in culture at large is eugenics. Eugenics used to be a flagship liberal idea, especially in the 1920s. But over time, culture...
Wait, which was? Sorry, your internet...
Eugenics. Eugenics is the concept of like choosing who breeds with whom for maximal genetic strength. Yeah. That was a big liberal idea until World War II, and that is an example of something the social conservatives unequivocally have won. Like, eugenics is delegitimized completely in culture at large, and any sort of like attempt to bring it up now is shut down.
Yeah, like the great Canadian left leaders.
Isn't that ideology more or less trying to control who does what, and the people who literally do nothing won?
Yeah, but there's no guarantee the people whose ideology is to control others will always lose, right?
Yeah, I just feel like socially, I mean, maybe it doesn't always happen, but in like 99% of the cases for social things, it always seems that the side who does nothing tends to win.
I don't think that's going
and
to be
the side who tries to stop stuff.
But
it is a broad brush. Yeah. I know it's a broad brush.
That is definitely the case. That is definitely the trend of the 20th century, but only because the U.S. kept winning. In the 21st century, there's definitely a tendency increasingly towards authoritarian government.
I also
even
think
the
it
U.S.
comes
has
in
become like very radically authoritarian.
Well, he's saying socially liberal, not like not in that way. Socially liberal meaning like LGBTQ rights, for example,
LGBTQ rights, etc.
Yeah.
The thing is, that is also just like from a capital standpoint, denying access to a specific market because of identity characteristics makes no sense. That was always when capitalism wins like that, that is of course going to decrease.
Spencer, I think it comes in waves because historically, for example, weed was legalized in many places before it became illegal.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to come in waves where right now we're on a trend towards social liberalism, and I hope it stays, but I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly parts of it get restricted over time.
I think social liberalism might decrease as the U.S.'s influence decreases. As the U.S.'s influences decreases, there will be less of a cultural endorsement of liberal ideas socially and in general.
But I don't know whoever takes up the next mantle. I don't see any country which is very, very socially not liberal being the next
China
influencer.
is definitely not socially liberal. They hold a lot of ideas that would be considered
up in a big way.
Yeah, but China has a lot of animosity right now.
China has a lot of ideas that many would consider like horrendous in a Western country.
But China's also has a lot of animosity with the world. So I have a hard time seeing them truly being influential with those gaps which are too big to bridge.
Well, just because they're not influential in this country does not mean they won't be influential in general. Obviously, we've tied our horse to the United States, and it's unlikely we're going to switch sides. But countries in Africa where they have both like good reason to dislike the Western world, those places are going to become increasingly Chinese.
Yeah, well, hasn't China been like expanding a ton into Africa recently?
Yes, and Central Asia.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
And I remember I read a study earlier today, or an article that referenced a study earlier today, that showed young Africans are just as homophobic, or even more so than older Africans. So there's been a social deliberalization in the last decade there.
Well, I know I've seen some parts of the world religion has become much more influential over time.
In some parts, other parts it's definitely declined.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm surprised about the homophobia thing.
I'll have to find I'll try to find the article after this and send it to you.
I'm just trying to wonder why. Like, what influences would have caused it to bring it down?
I don't know.
Because obviously, Western cultural influences have been very, very going towards opening everything up, or just pro-LGBTQ rights, and so forth. Maybe they just have their own movies and stuff coming out, which is a lot more influential.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Africa certainly has an up-and-coming cinema industry.
Nollywood?
Yeah. Which won't be a joke.
We gotta check that out.
Nollywood won't, like, now is obviously kind of a meme, but it won't be forever.
No, I don't imagine so. No, I noticed that Netflix has some interesting African-based TV shows coming out. I think that's one of the coolest and one of the most worrying things about technology and its impacts on globalization is that we can see all these cultural influences on things we would consider normal. So, for example, like TV shows and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's also going to lend itself into the unifying of everything into one
mega culture.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that kind of the ideal end goal for a race?
To have us all united
Like for
in one country.
humans, like whether it's all good or not all good, just like have humans acting as one thing around the planet.
I mean, obviously that would be nice, but it's like, do you want anyone but your own culture to win that fight?
I mean, I don't
please.
like that idea, Spencer, because
Please.
we lose a lot of information that way. Right? Like a lot of techniques, a lot of knowing how things are done is based on the fact that we have different cultural influences.
That's true. Like, I feel like you're definitely gonna lose a lot of cultural history and stuff like that. But I think, like...
But I think Spencer's right in that, like, the Star Trek future would be worth that. But it's like, there's no guarantee that whatever culture wins is the Star Trek future culture, you know?
Yeah.
But maybe it's also capitalist.
Well, I feel like it doesn't necessarily have to be, like, a utopian future. I just feel like that kind of future, no matter what it is, like, having everyone kind of united is like a start towards that, because if you have everyone separated, everyone's going to be beefing no matter what.
If only the Confederates had won that fight.
If only we didn't draw the last battle.
Galactic slaveocracy.
Maybe it's a capitalist in me, but I feel like if we don't have that competition between cultures, we will lose. Yeah, there won't be that force of progression, or to push us forward.
Well, okay, I can come in and drop Heroin World on you if
Heroin World is the stupidest idea of all time. Please do not expose us on the Raddest channel.
You know I'm right, and you just refuse to believe me.
You're not fucking right. You're so wrong. This would be such a bad idea.
So Bennett told me Heroin World is just like an independent analysis, which somehow led back into Brave New World.
Yeah, it was literally like Spencer has not read Brave New World and rewrote the book from scratch.
Well, except I have read Brave New World. And it is definitely inspired by, I have to say.
Brave New World is like, did you miss the whole part with John where it's like that existence is completely unfulfilling and stupid?
Well, does it matter if it's technically unfulfilling in the grand scheme of things if everyone is happy and feels fulfilled?
The people in that society don't feel fulfilled. That was like the whole point of the book.
Well, then they need a better drug.
I guess. Maybe heroin is the answer.
Like, if everyone is out there living, like, doing their general tasks and stuff like that, if they have a good social life and are able to, like, have a bunch of their pleasure, and they have a drug that guarantees that, I mean, maybe they could even have downswings and stuff like that, but in my opinion, even if it's not like everyone's making a bunch of progress, we got 7 billion people, not everyone's going to be making progress anymore.
I don't know, this just seems like an extreme
You know?
idea. Maybe it's just because...
They may as well be happy.
As well be happy. I guess I'm the most probably conservative, sympathetic person here. In terms of social norms. I think in terms of economic conservatism, Shrey is the most sympathetic to that of us. But in terms of social conservatism, I'm definitely the most sympathetic to that. And I'd say that, like, there's a certain optimism that comes with that, where it's you genuinely believe the world is going to be, like, taken over by God, and then it becomes a guaranteed utopia, so you don't need to worry about this sort of thing. Like, I don't think we should get everyone...
I think my thing is it doesn't matter if everything is technically good or not, but if everyone feels like it's technically good, then does it matter whether it's not technically good? You feel me?
I guess. I just don't agree with your implementation of the idea.
I mean, come up with your own slightly different implementation, but...
my cavalry go? Oh, there it is.
I'm really the most sympathetic to the conservative economically.
Yes, I detest fiscal conservatism. I think it's unholy. I think
I
like,
personally, I don't even understand it.
I think libertarian
Like, the
economics.
more I look into it, it just seems kind of counterintuitive.
My genuine belief is that conservative economics, like the "fuck you, I got mine" sort of thing, is a direct affront to God. It's like, it's just completely unholy.
I mean, okay, in that sense, I guess I am more sympathetic. Where I'm not gonna, where I believe okay, they have their own rights, just that it's wrong.
Yeah, I disagree with fiscal conservatism on a spiritual level.
What would you nationalize?
A lot of things. Definitely, if I were to start nationalizing stuff now, renationalize energy in Ontario, that was a bad idea.
I agree with that.
Nationalize internet services.
I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nationalize social media. Nationalize the media in general. And free press. Enough.
Yep.
Let me think.
Wait, it's not free press anymore.
Yeah, there's not. We don't even have free press now, so what's the point?
Fair enough. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I more or less go on the line of we should have like a nationalized bare minimum, like even food and water. You should have like
Yes,
the
food and
minimum
water.
amount of food and water you need
I wouldn't say
nationalized.
food, but I'd
then
certainly say
beyond, well, like with food, I'm talking like just like rice and beans and maybe like a bit of some protein kind of thing.
I mean, the stuff we
and then
can't
if you
grow
want
here.
anything else, I'm like, after that point, it pretty much turns as free market as you can
Okay,
get.
let's see how many Yankee casualties I'll end up causing here, because I've actually like shattered almost their entire army that showed up.
Base Spencer is
Yeah,
gonna
I've watched
nationalize
you
rice,
slowly
which he can't
wrapping
grow
around.
here. So
Yes.
he's gonna lead a Canadian imperialistic.
Okay, but I'm
type
also
of thing.
heavily for like the mass indoor farming kind of thing, and I want to have some impact in there.
Hydroponics is good.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
like
hydroponic gardening and mass vertical farming, I think, can make it so that more or less any crop can be harvested for significantly less water, nutrients, and cost.
I'd say my economic
That's
position is distributist, but also like centralist in some ways. Like if there's a central industry, it should be controlled by the government. If something is distributed, it should be distributed as much as possible. So food should be distributed as possible, where there's no corporate farming, just like independent farming. But stuff like water should be government only.
So, I think right now how food is done is well through the Ontario Agricultural Terminal, where it's like a centralized port to take all the food and distribute it. So I like how food is done right now. Water, I think, should be nationalized.
Water for sure.
Internet is where I'm a little bit on the fence on, where I think we should go with the Saskatchewan model, where we have like our own services. But if someone can compete and do better, then by all means they can.
Yeah, that's what
fight
I
the
think
government.
for more or less anything. There should be like a minimum national service and for like our needs, and then if you need more, then there's like whatever private stuff.
I think that should be for most things. I'm gonna go not say it for everything though, but I'm gonna say things like public schools. Oh, sorry, schooling should be no privatizing, only public.
Yeah.
308 prisoners exchanged for 468 recruits. Nice. Okay, we need to buy a new gun here.
Basically, I think where like social things come in charge, I'm more in favor of nationalizing it.
I think one of the things I think where there's a conflict in internet is I believe that internet is like a necessary service, and a lot of people don't. But like if you don't have your business on the internet, this is my argument. If you don't have your business on the internet, yo, good luck.
If you don't have internet access in general, life becomes basically impossible in the modern world. Like it's impossible to get a job. It's impossible to like meet people.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. And that's where I've had a few arguments on that, where people say, "Oh, like internet isn't necessary," and I'm like, "Are we living in the same world? You're going to Queens. Like, how do you apply to Queens?"
Yeah, bro. Let me just print out on cue for you.
I have my on cue. It's a fax to me every single day.
Yeah, I do agree. Like the minimum national standards should be Led by the government.
Okay. 42, morale boost +1. So we drew one battle and won another, so there was no effect on our morale in general.
Were you conservative for the monarchist reasons before? Like, I know you were a member of the Conservative Party.
Yeah, mostly for the monarchy. I don't trust any other party not to abolish it at the earliest opportunity once the queen dies. That's why I didn't vote NDP federally last election. So I'm like, I don't really want these guys to be in charge when the queen dies. But the Green Party is led... Elizabeth May might be crazy, but she's like a dedicated monarchist, so...
It's interesting because she's the only American-born leader.
One sec, we got storyline. What was that storyline?
Oh, Grant's army is moving across the Mississippi to Pittsburgh's Landing.
No.
We need to intercept them and stop them.
Good luck. You're gonna stop it with your life.
This was a historically Confederate disaster, so let's see if we can turn it around.
Yeah, it's Grant.
This is the battle that made Grant's career.
The legend himself.
He was able to prevent the Confederates from taking Pittsburgh Landing and continue his advance down the Mississippi towards New Orleans.
You mean towards presidency?
Yeah, this battle led to his continued command of the Mississippi forces, and then his command of the Army of the Potomac, which gained him the reputation necessary to become president. So if Grant loses this battle, he doesn't become president. Or it would be much more difficult for him to become president.
Yeah. I think Grant is one of my top American presidents. Obviously up there with Richard Nixon, of course.
I know he's generally considered like bad, but I don't remember why.
Corrupt. There's a lot of corruption scandals underneath him. Like, basically his entire cabinet is corrupt.
That's kind of based. So
apparently he's a good commander, just not a terrible politician.
One of the pre-Civil War major parties in the United States was the Know Nothing Party. Pre-Civil War American politics was absolute chaos. Like, there were so many parties competing. The Know Nothing Party were anti-Catholic and anti-immigrant, but in New Orleans, they were officially pro-crime.
What do you mean pro-crime?
Like, they actively backed organized crime as a concept.
Wow.
Sir.
And
this has my vote.
Why is it always Louisiana?
The Confederate general, PGT Beauregard, ran against them for like the Liberal Party in the area and lost because like people just liked them too much.
Why is it always Louisiana? They got of course, the legend himself, Huey Long, praise be upon him.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Maybe it's
that's
maybe
guy
it's
from the Boondocks, right?
What? Huey Long was in the Boondocks?
I haven't watched the Boondocks.
You have to, bro. It's so good.
The Boondocks is a pretty wild commentary.
Boondocks.
I think I've watched one episode with the Martin Luther King one where he goes back in time.
That one is an all-time. That one is an all-time classic. That he doesn't go back in time. He wakes up from a coma because he didn't die in that universe from his assassination attempt.
Sorry, what?
In that universe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you meant Boondock, like a character.
No,
right, yeah.
No, Boondocks is like the suburbs.
Yeah. No, but like I think I meant the main character got assassinated.
No. Martin Luther King Jr. He doesn't get assassinated in that world. He just falls into a coma and then he wakes up in like 2008 or whenever the show was released.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Still, I think about that R. Kelly episode a lot.
Oh,
and if you support your black folks so much, why are you married to a white
woman? That is an insane episode.
Is Boondocks meant for kids or not for kids?
No, it is absolutely
well,
not meant for children.
It's one of those shows where it's like, not for like children.
It was
But you can watch it at like fairly young and enjoy it, but when you're an adult, you can actually appreciate it.
It's the reason it's a cartoon is because it's based on like a newspaper comic.
Okay.
And they kept the same like art style and artist.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The newspaper in question was a university newspaper, which is why it was like such an offense. Why they allowed such offensive content, but like I don't think Boondocks was big in like the Toronto Star or anything like that.
I'll add it to my real list or watching list. I'll add that and Parasite and all the others.
There's a lot of movies. I have a lot of gaps in my movie watching history. I have never seen any Lord of the Rings movie.
Neither have I.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, it
Watch
seems
The
like the
Hobbit.
sort of thing that I would love, but I just never seen any
Yeah.
of them.
God, the
That
books are
surprised me.
so
The fact
boring.
that you lived with me for a couple of years and you haven't watched Lord of the Rings.
I have never seen it. My parents went to see it in theaters and hated it because it was too long, and they didn't read the book.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a theaters experience. Lord of the Rings is something where it's like you set aside a long weekend with a bunch of friends as kind of like a bender, and you watch Lord of the Rings, and you just have to like, how do I say? You just have to accept that there is going to be very little in terms of productivity happening that weekend. And you're gonna feel awful afterwards because you've been sitting for 3 days watching Lord of the Rings.
Okay, the key here is to overwhelm the Yankees.
But it is worth it, and I'm gonna do it again.
Spencer, whenever you come, we have to watch the entire Skull Island trilogy or whatever it is in prep.
The new canon for King Kong.
Yeah, so we have to watch the entire thing in preparation.
Yeah, I'm down. And we have to watch the new Godzilla films.
Of course. Okay, I think since all these kids are getting it wrong, like 50% of the class are getting it wrong, I might just email the prof like, hey, it's okay if I don't mark them wrong. I think it's their fault at this point.
Why are they charging? What is this? Yo, they're bugging.
This is it's right, whatever he does.
Grant is not personally in command of this area yet.
Okay.
His army is like over there somewhere.
In that case,
shit. But those guys got some numbers on them.
Yeah, the Yankees get a lot of troops and better equipment, but they have lower morale and shittier officers. So the Confederates in this game get more benefits from having officers, and are better at melee combat. So if the Yankees actually charge me in this fight here, if Peabody charges, I have a very good chance of actually winning that engagement.
Okay. Peabody. To skip back about half an hour.
Yeah.
Actually, probably only 15 minutes at this point. I genuinely, like, when it's described as an abstract thing, I kind of understand fiscal conservatism, but how it's always seemed to be, like, pushed, I genuinely can't comprehend how it is supposed to be productive. Yeah.
Here. Let me run down because I got very
look at
close
this
to being
engagement. I'm winning with 400 men.
I get the save money while it's good and spend money while times aren't good, but every time it's just like, hey, why don't we just cut education, which is just more expensive in the long run?
See, the thing
Here,
is,
And it's like,
it's not even
just
like
sell everything off and privatize a bunch of things to make a bunch of money right before it's like the budget's shown.
See, the thing is, it's like they don't even spend when think times are bad. They just don't spend.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of like the libertarian conservatism, but I got very close to becoming a red Tory.
Or like a liberal
So-
conservative.
God, no, that's not what red Tories are. I hate people when they say they're liberal Tories.
God, I hate liberals so much. It's
God.
unreal.
Liberals and bros, we got too cocky.
No, red tourism is the idea that spending money on programs is good. It's a good thing. It's a necessary part of what government is. But the most important thing is make sure that we're in a fiscally right place before we do it.
But the thing is, you can always push back, are we in the fiscally right place? There's no time when you can say, yes, we can afford to spend X amount of money. In like...
It's a bit more nuanced, but that's like the crux. But you can. And the idea is that spending money is not bad. So like a pure fiscal conservative or a libertarian would be like, no, spending money is bad. We don't want to spend money. A red Tory would be like, no, spending money is good as long as we're in the right place for it.
Yeah, but when are you in the right place for it?
When times are okay and we're not running massive debts, when we don't have when interest is not the biggest thing. When times are
bad is when you need to run debts, like the Great Depression.
Oh no, running debts is fine. Running debts is fine. R.B. Bennett, for example, was a classic red Tory where he ran crazy amounts of debts.
Yeah, but R.B.
But
Bennett
that's because times were really, really bad.
Is a generally maligned prime minister in Canada's history.
Yeah, maligned for a reason. He's not because he's bad, because the King was a.
King.
I don't like King. Hate King.
I know you don't like King.
God, I hate King. But Diefenbaker was another red Tory.
Diefenbaker is my personal favorite prime minister. That's only because there's never been an NDP prime minister.
Diefenbaker was good. Davis was a red Tory premier of Ontario. He's premier for 30 years or something like that. Or sorry, not 30 years. But his party was red Tory, and his party was head for 40 years of Ontario. How red Tory works, Spencer, is right now, for example, in Ontario, our top most expensive thing we spend money on is healthcare, right?
Yep.
Our second most expensive thing is education. Our third most, at $12 billion every year, is interest payments from old loans. $12 billion is enough to make a hospital, to make 12 hospitals in a year. And so the idea of red Toryism is that, okay, maybe we should do something about this interest problem so we don't have to make interest as one of the most expensive things on our list. Because eventually, if interest becomes the most expensive thing, then we have to really start cutting things because we'll be going on the verge of bankruptcy.
I guess one thing I also don't understand is how the whole government debt issue, based on the fact that more or less every government is in debt.
Okay, they're not.
And people just seem to be doing just fine.
They're not necessarily in debt to each other.
Yeah.
They're like in debt to, like, banking institutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, you know.
Like, you look at America's debt. Well, I guess you could also say America's not doing just fine.
See, the issue with America's debt is it seems large, but they are perfectly capable of paying off interest. So they're not close to bankruptcy or anything. It's what Shrey says, is as long as you can pay interest, you're fine.
Yeah. But when interest payments are becoming like our third most expensive thing, when we could be spending that money in hospitals and education and so forth, really gotta reel it in.
Yeah, I feel, I don't know, I feel like with the whole AI/robot revolution coming in, which could essentially potentially render work useless, I feel like now is the time to be especially ahead of the curve in research and education and all of those, and to put more into it because you need a solution for when the robots come.
The question is, where does the money come from then?
I don't know, bro. Where does the money come from anyways?
I don't believe in decreasing corporate taxes. And I'm pretty pissed off whenever they decrease corporate taxes when we're like losing money.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the crux of red Toryism, fiscal conservatism, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel I'm just extra concerned for the whole we need to reel back spending now, because I feel like all that's going to do is put us even further behind in 10 years and make it so that we don't have any like positive returns kicking in. Like the whole thing about how, education, if you cut education now, it gets more expensive later because you'll now have to deal with more people in jail, more crime. You're gonna have to deal with like lower paying jobs and stuff like that, which makes less income.
Right.
So, yeah.
So the question, what do we cut then?
Yeah.
I'm personally one of those who are like, oh, we should just cut foreign aid. We should cut some of the arts programs, things like that.
Foreign aid seems like the biggest.
I know I'm
like
more controversial that way.
Foreign aid seems like the most obvious one to cut. Like, if we have our own problems, we should be solving them first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I see it. But then you can argue that, okay, if we cut foreign aid, we lose out on lots of deals with these countries. Because we use foreign aid as like a heuristic goal.
We should be like blackmailing third world countries. This seems like this seems morally worse than giving them foreign aid. If it's like, well, you know, we can blackmail them for imperialistic trade deals. It's like,
damn, did those guys just
is it morally wrong if we help them?
Yeah, March just charged and then routed like 10 meters from my
God.
line. It's not
what
looking,
a loser.
It's not looking good, anti-slavery bros. Our last corps are now arriving to attack the Union Center and left.
We should let Andrew know the bad news.
Attack the left wing.
General, our attack has alerted the enemy to our presence. We must act swiftly. The Federals are building a defensive line and will soon occupy a very strong position.
He's going to be devastated that the Confederates are losing.
The center of the Union Army is currently controlled from this location. Push forward and take it. The left flank must...
That's That's a huge front.
Advance and watch your flanks, General. The Union Army may counterattack from behind these woods. Okay, the secret to this is just capture this. This is, like, you can get this later.
We can't see your mouse, by the way. That's a huge front.
The left side, from our perspective, which I believe is...
Command.
Yeah, this, like, you should see this come up.
Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah, that's more important. You should, like, in this, if you're playing this, if you plan to get this game and play this mission from the Confederate perspective, get this. Ignore this.
Yes, sir. I was thinking the other night of you know, as one does. I was sitting there daydreaming about some good old communism.
Okay.
And I was thinking, you know, the whole like communist thing where it just can't work, like that's kind of fair. I give people that. But then I realized, what happens if we allow all corporations, like, just put research funding in and stuff like that, and make it so that every single corporation gets, like, makes robots, automates their entire system, top to bottom, and then just essentially make it so they take, like, 2% of profits or something like that, something pretty small. But that's like,
it's amazing how you reinvent ideologies. Like,
yeah, things that
are really common thought process.
My man came up with Keynesianism.
Yeah, but literally, like, bro, automated system, I don't see how this could possibly go wrong.
It's called in memeing terms, it's an automated communism.
Yeah. But if everything is automated, all you do is research more automation, don't you?
Motherfucker's always talking about fully automated luxury space communism or whatever. How about fully de-automated, unluxury, agriculturalist medievalism?
That's my other proposed idea, but people are way less fond of that one. Okay, so yeah, I just thought that up, and I want to know, where does that go wrong?
Benny, you're careful, man. You're about one era too close to Unabomberism.
Oh, buddy, I am way too close to that.
Okay, what people don't realize, I notice a lot of leftists who both are anti-feudalism but pro-Unabomber. It's like, what do you think happened before industrialization? What exactly do you think was going on?
I have no idea, and I'm not going to look it up.
Yeah, it was feudalism. Unabomberism is just violent neo-feudalism.
Yeah, no, I knew a girl who was telling me that her goal was just or her ideal world, where she can chill with the cows and have sex with whoever she wants, and the world should be very, very deluxurized. It was very Unabomberism.
But yeah, I don't see how I don't see where the wrong turn comes.
Okay, how about
personally?
Here's the wrong turn.
I
Like,
know
in
there's got to
theory-
be something somewhere, but keep in mind I've only been thinking about this for about
In
2
theory,
days.
I don't actually see a flaw with this. The problem is who enforces this, right? Like a politician who makes this ruling where we take X amount of profits can just be paid off. And then
Also,
there's no guarantee.
also
this
not
won't just-
everyone's.
This is why I
No.
want to normalize physical violence against politicians.
Yes, sir.
I think that, you know how, like, one of the best things about feudalism was that, oh, if the king was way too bad, well, you just kill the king.
Yeah, that was. Or
And now
also
the next king, and that's incredibly effective.
the
If
issue
you're
is-
worried about dying, you might make the right decision.
Yeah, the another issue is people back then, like there was no alternate explanation for how the world came about other than religion. So people had a genuine belief if they fucked people over, they would just go to hell. Nowadays,
God, that's beautiful.
yeah, nowadays it's not so much.
Well, even Marx was a huge supporter of religion that way.
Yes, Marx was not
It's like
opposed
it's
to
a good-
religion in general. He just felt that it was used for nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
Although he himself was atheistic.
I think he just really couldn't find the right religion for himself.
Well, no. His theories are very similar to a certain carpenters that lived 2,000 years before him, in some way.
Did he also write a book?
He didn't actually write a book, but a couple of his friends did.
Oh, interesting. Huh, might take a look at that. I wonder if he was as influential as Marx.
Yeah, his friend's book is actually the top-selling book of all time, 2,000 years running.
Can you get it in English? Oh, English wasn't there 2,000 years ago, so probably not.
Yeah, but it's been translated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, if they really wanted everyone to know about it, they would leave it, like, beside every bed you go to sleep in.
yeah.
Or something like that.
You know, yeah, I don't know, like, in my head, I think the best place to put a book would be, like, next to a hotel, you know, where
Yeah.
you sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah, where
yeah,
everyone
just
goes.
anytime anyone's traveling, they get to read your book for free. And that way you get to, like, spread your message. It just makes sense.
You made much money on it. It sounds like a good capitalistic ploy.
Welcome to today's 10 minutes of talking with Shrey and Bennett, where I invent yet another ideology. This time, Christianity.
Spencer invents putting Gideon Bibles in hotel drawers. God, we need to get Spencer to have that Chad voice filter at all times.
I know, I wish I could find it. So, okay, I've downloaded someone else, and I'm trying to get someone where I can edit the... I need to ask Alex Wong about some of these settings, because I know I can just make my voice deeper.
It's Alex Wong.
Alex Wong's the guy we play a game with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let me
Old high school
check
friend of Spencer.
this out. No, that's just... How's this one? No.
If we ever upload... Oh, shit.
I can make my voice extra wacky. Really...
Shiloh Church is at risk. The Union's resistance is stronger than expected. Their troops are preparing for a counterattack. We must hold Shiloh Church to keep their right flank under pressure. Don't fail us, General, or we will have to withdraw.
I think we've had this conversation before, but the U.S. was not Catholic during this time. They were definitely not Anglican.
Oh, they were very, very Protestant. The South was generally Episcopalian, which is a form of anti-monarchistic Anglicanism.
That's the one which is now accepted by Anglicans, right?
Yes, they are now accepted. At the time, they were considered heretics. However,
Right,
Anglicans
but
have
they're
taken-
more or less...
Anglicans now are very ecumenical, so the general belief is that all Christians who like uphold the Trinity and stuff like that are worthy of salvation. But at the time, there was a definite belief that Episcopalians were going to hell for being Republicans.
Yes, sir.
The North was more Catholic than the South, but still very majority Protestant. As I said, the Know
Right.
Nothing Party was a political force, and they had anti-Catholicism in their platform.
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
The KKK also targeted Catholics a lot.
Well, yeah, but they did that in Canada as well.
Yeah. That's
Canada's
actually-
still Catholic.
Yeah, Canada, the Canadian KKK was primarily anti-Catholic.
Yeah, they're mainly anti-Catholic, anti-French. I think was the other sentiment.
Well, that is wrapped up in Canadian politics.
Anything west of the Ottawa River is automatically.
Yeah. I mean, legitimately, when the Canadian KKK was active, Quebec was basically controlled by the Catholic Church.
Yeah. God, what an interesting guy, the premier then Duplessis.
I fuck with pre-Quiet Revolution Quebec.
Yeah, I did a lot of research into Duplessis. I thought it was really interesting. He was the kind of guy who would one town voted liberal, and so for the next 20 years he refused to give them any kind of money. Like he would
definitely a party of Anglos back then, weren't they?
Yeah. But he would really play into it. Like he had the priests burn down like images of the liberal leader in church, and say liberals are red, and red's hell, so you can't vote for liberals.
Yes. See, that's the type of politics I'm on board with.
Pre-Quiet Revolution Quebec was shit like priests in church preaching that like France was lost because they had killed King Louis XVI. Or like a general, like, not Republican sentiment, but a wish that they had kept the French king rather than a British one.
Duplessis was like on something. I think it was a decree where every public school had like a puzzle game with his face on it. Like,
that guy was like a Central Asian dictator.
It was incredible. They called him le chef, and the time as like le toit noir, the black guy.
Le chef, like or the boss.
Yep, that was his nickname. And my favorite story was there was like a.
No, bro, it's not even fucking funny or fair, dude. They killed Kemper, bros.
There was a meeting of the Confederation, which was like all the premiers get together and just discuss things, and it's to be held in Quebec that year. So like 2 months before the actual meeting, he called up the head of the Le Château Frontenac, which is the big beautiful castle in Quebec City, and said, "Hey, oh yeah, I stayed there too actually. My mom works at bank, which got us a sweet deal." But regardless, so yeah, it was that castle, and so he called them up saying, "Hey, I know it's a tourist season, but we need the entire top couple of floors completely empty and reserved for the premiers and their staff." And the guy was like, we can't do that. That's tourist season. It's already booked up, and we can't do anything like that. It's too close.
Yeah.
And he responded simply saying, okay, let me know if you guys want your liquor license renewed, and call me back." And then
corruption filled.
It's hung up. Needless to say, that was a great Confederation meeting later on in that Château de Frontenac.
We've actually discussed very little Civil War history in this episode. Almost all of it's been Canadian history and contemporary politics.
Oh yeah, I feel like I derail the conversation frequently because I straight up know literally nothing about the Civil War. So
it was states' rights.
This is why until someone like said hi to me, I was planning on just listening to you guys.
Do you have any questions about the Civil War? We'll try our best to answer.
I literally don't even know enough about the Civil War to have any questions about it.
Here's a quick rundown. It was mainly about states' rights. The issue was the South was being...
I know it was about like quote-unquote states' rights, and I generally know the result, and that's as far as I go. And because I know that, like, I don't know any details to have any questions about.
Bros, we got too cocky.
The South was mainly being oppressed by the North, unfortunately, during this time, and so the South revolted, obviously, for freedom.
Yes.
It was led by a good Canadian.
Woodrow Wilson, Annand.
I was just about to talk about that. If you're interested in reading more, I'd recommend a favorite historian of mine, Woodrow Wilson. He's pretty accomplished.
I can't think.
So last episode, we'll dealt mainly with Woodrow Wilson, Spencer, who is a president of the U.S., famous for his 14 principles on democracy, on basically how every ethnic group deserves a country of their own.
he was also
But-
rabidly pro-Confederacy.
Yeah, like he was in.
He was the president. He was a child when the Civil War happened, and he became president in 1912. I'm gonna say.
Yep, 1912 or 1911, something like that. Yeah.
It's 19. It has to be an even year. That's the only years that they have.
Well, I think he got elected in 1911, but yeah, he became like official president in 1912. But he was extremely pro-Confederate. He lauded the founding of the KKK.
He actually have you ever heard of the movie Birth of a Nation, Spencer?
Heard of, don't know anything about.
It's a movie about the foundation of the KKK.
Okay.
The Yankees are dug in at the Hornet's Nest. This is historically where the Confederates lost. They failed to dislodge the Union here. We must overrun the Union defense in order to secure our path to Pittsburgh Landing. If you fail, our whole offensive will become disorganized and collapse. We are counting on you. Okay, let's continue. We have 3 hours to do that. Yeah, historically the Confederates failed to overwhelm this, giving the Yankees enough time to withdraw to Pittsburgh Landing, and Beauregard and Bragg failed to capture Pittsburgh Landing that day. It tried again in the early morning and failed again and left.
And this is what kind of ended it for the Confederates, or is what succeeded for Grant?
This was Grant's success. The war was far from over.
This is where the South got their rights back.
The war was far from over. It was like a military disaster for the Confederates, but they still had a lot of resources left. And so it wasn't a death blow, but it was a propagandist coup for Grant.
Right. Good guy. Yeah, no, Wilson was very famous for helping segregate the White House staff.
Yeah.
And the government.
Wilson consulted on the creation of the movie Birth of a Nation, which is like a pro-KKK movie from 1915. Screened it in the White House. The first two frames of Birth of a Nation are quotes by Woodrow Wilson on like slides. And after he screened it, he said something along the lines of, the saddest part is that it's all true.
Oh no, that's so sad.
I mean, Woodrow Wilson was very famous and popular in general because of his of World War I.
Yes.
And his 14 Principles, of course.
Oh, I forgot that happened.
I forgot World War I.
So, like, Wilson is thought of very positively in modern history.
Modern historians definitely don't think positively of him because of the irreparable damage he's done to the Civil War historiography. But I'd say modern people think positively of him for sure.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
I feel like modern historians curse Wilson's name on the daily, especially those who deal with Civil War history.
Well, it depends which side you're on.
Yeah. There aren't very many lost cause historians left in the academy. So.
In Brazil, however.
Look at Stuart go. No, don't retreat. You're too sexy. Aha.
Prime ministers of ours were actually pretty bad, but we think of them positively. Like, I know King was awful, but King is looked on positively, unfortunately.
I
feel like King is looked on positively because his name was King and someone mentioned him in like some reference to a railroad in middle school.
Are you thinking of the King Bing Winding? Which was I think the only like that's the only King reference I can think of that's like famous. Which is where the Governor General refused his request in some way, and that caused a constitutional crisis.
Yeah, he refused to have another election, basically. But they had another election within 6 days anyway.
Basically, Commonwealth governments, they have a ceremonial monarch, but they don't ever expect the monarch to do something. So when our Governor General actually did something, it caused a crisis.
That's beautiful. I love it.
The king is known for something else which is really big, the $50 bill.
Ooh. The $50 bill or 50?
50. Right, he's on the back of it.
Yeah, he is on it.
Well, if that's the case, then he must be a good person.
He was our Prime Minister during World War II, which is probably what he's remembered fondly for.
Well, he was also Prime Minister for 21 or 24 years. And Prime Minister in the Great Depression, like during the later parts. And the earliest part.
So the whole part.
Not the middle part.
Who was Prime Minister in 36?
It was King, but in 35 was Bennett.
I thought Bennett was before King. Or no, he was in between King, but like in 1929.
1930 was when he got elected, 1934 or 1931 he got elected, 1935 when he ended, something like that. Because
Yeah.
So it looked like there was a big U shape for defense around this point. What would happen if you moved all your guys to the far right side of the map, squeegee your way around, and then attacked from the north?
They've got guys up here.
Oh, okay.
Also, I need to maintain a coherent line, because eventually I'm going to link up again with my guys over here. Oh, Grant's here. It is very difficult to kill general units in this game, but it is possible, so I might be able to kill Grant.
difficult for him to become president.
Yeah, Kemper died. Kemper historically became a governor of Virginia after the war, so I guess Virginia's out of governor. My line is like super crowded right now. We gotta get guys.
Do you know what France's entire opinion on was for the Civil War? Like, it was pretty pro-North.
Around this time, France had tried to set up a puppet state in Mexico, which ended up failing. You might know about that, Emperor Maximilian.
Yep.
That was a joint effort by France and Austria. Now, the Confederate States was one of the few countries in the world at the time that recognized Maximilian's government as completely legitimate. As a result, Mexico extended a similar amount of, a similar recognition. Now, France was pro-Confederacy from an economic standpoint because their textile mills relied on southern cotton at the start of the war.
They didn't have their own India?
No, they would by the end of the war, obviously, because their textile industry didn't collapse.
Oh my good god.
But France didn't want to officially recognize the CS because, they didn't want to antagonize the United States. So what they did was they conducted unofficial diplomacy through Mexico. If they needed something from the Confederate States, they would send a Mexican delegation to ask for it.
Interesting. So I expected France to come on the side of the northern U.S., like the Union.
France was only supported the American Revolution, which is what I assume you're basing that off of, because it.
A mixture of that and the antagonizing of UK.
The UK was the UK and France were like friends at this point.
Really? This is 1860.
This was during the ascendancy of Prussia, the 1860s.
Oh, I see. Yep.
So there was a general sense of the old powers of Europe that they need to unite against Germans. So this was like.
Wonder if we see the sentiment ever again in history.
Nah, probably not.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty one and done thing. I think it's solved at this point.
Yeah, I don't think the Germans were of any issue at that time.
You know the saying, history never returns.
Yeah, France was actually one of the countries the Confederates expected to intervene on their behalf. Although obviously that intervention never came. The Confederate war plan hinged on countries giving way less of a shit about slavery than they actually did.
I mean, Considering their viewpoint, yeah. Fair enough.
Now, many Confederates didn't care about slavery, but most Confederates actively supported it as a moral good.
Yeah.
I think Lee sums up the dominant position on slavery at the time, which was that, bad stuff happens to slaves, but it's for the best interest of black people to be slaves.
No, but Lee was. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Because Lee was anti-slavery, but he was anti-slavery because he thought it hurt the white man.
No, he was pro-slavery. Lee was anti-slavery. Comes from a letter that contains a quote where he says slavery is a great moral evil. But that's the first part of the letter. The second part of the letter is, but we should keep black people as slaves. Because he called it a racial education, where in his opinion, black people were better off as slaves than living in Africa. So what he envisioned was a gradual phasing out of slavery when the racial education of black people was finished. Now, what that actually entails isn't clear in the letter.
The Confederates knew that the world was not pro-slavery.
The Confederates knew slavery was dying, but they felt they could keep it. They actually had plans to make an industrial economy off of slavery, have industrial.
Didn't seem like it.
No, they wanted
kind of like
to do
some
it.
sort of robots almost.
They wanted to do it. They didn't have the political ability to do it before the war started. But I forget what the book is called, but there's this great book about Confederate plans to industrialize, and all of them involved just keeping slaves as factory workers.
Right.
The most, if the Confederates received British help, that would be a double-edged sword for them, because they liked slavery, but British and French help probably would have come with them essentially becoming British and French puppets, and having to abolish slavery eventually anyways. So it would be kind of pointless.
That would have literally changed the course of history. Yeah. All of the world history.
Yeah, that would lead to a, anti-British and French North and a pro-British and French South, which would be very weird, especially when World War I happens, and World War II happens.
I don't think Canada would have survived as a country without another war, at the very least. Yeah,
if the United States, the North became not only neutral, but anti-Britain and France, they would have joined the Germans in World War I, and that would fuck us big time. Canada would be a bunch of shelled out mud holes at best, and not a country at worst.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is very much in the best interest of Canada that the North won the Civil War.
Yeah. Well, it would have been best interest if the North won the Civil War. Contingent on the fact that the British helped the South, but it would have been our best interest if the North didn't win the Civil War, but the Confederates won on their own right.
Yeah. If only the French intervened, that would still be bad. But if the Confederates somehow pulled out an 11th hour victory, that would be the best outcome for us. Probably not the best outcome morally.
No.
Let's see if we can... Yes, we're capturing it. Who ran against Grant when he was president?
No one important. Let me check. I think Grant was a shoo-in almost, but let me check exactly what it was.
Well, obviously he was a shoo-in. He was hugely popular, but if he lost this battle, he wouldn't be popular at all.
Yeah. Ulysses S. Grant, slave owner.
Okay, we captured the hornet's nest.
Oh, his body's in New York, huh?
Didn't he have slave-owning family?
He owned slaves.
So yes.
He owned 2 slaves as a gift from his father-in-law, and he let them go.
No, they were a gift, bro, I swear. Yeah, okay, kid.
He let them go really fast.
Oh, also, Shrey, last time you mentioned the idea of the Union burning a wheat field. to like.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
That was from
I couldn't find
movie.
any reference to such a thing actually happening, but marijuana was a major cash crop at this time period, so it is technically possible.
No, okay, so that was from a movie called The Civil War on Drugs. It's about a bunch of guys who pretended they were in the Civil War while being on drugs.
So, just the regular Civil War.
Like, in the movie, the indigenous people are all frat boys who walk around with red Solo cups.
What? That seems
Like,
pretty
it's not-
irreverent, I'm not gonna lie.
So it's not meant to be historically accurate in any sense. In the movie, the protagonist switched sides like 3 times because they get confused, and it ends up with them meeting Abraham Lincoln and smoking a joint with each other. Fantastic movie if you have the chance.
I think I'll pass.
Oh my gosh.
I remember telling my friends this, and they were really confused how I haven't watched any other big movie, but I didn't happen to watch this one.
Yeah, it's like, how have you not watched Lord of the Rings, but you've watched whatever the fuck you're talking about? Advance to Pittsburgh Landing. General Grant is establishing his last line of defense at Pittsburgh Landing. Don't hesitate. Attack and victory will be ours. The ironclads USS Tyler and USS Lexington have been spotted off the banks of Pittsburgh Landing and present a threat to our right flank. It is advised not to get too close.
Okay,
Take
so
the
Democrats.
ship, and then use the river to go upstream and take their defenses from behind.
That's their ships, not our ships.
Yeah, take them.
How?
Swim out to them and raid them. It'll be like the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Mississippi.
Wow, Grant did not win by that big of a margin.
No, this was a pretty narrow. This was an impressive victory. The Confederates had, I think, way more guys or something like that.
Sorry, no, I meant the election.
Okay.
Like, he won only 300,000. He got 52% of the vote.
That's pretty significant. Like, I don't know. I guess modern standards. At the time, that's low.
Yeah, well, he got 53% of the vote. I mean, nowadays, presidents can't even get 50% of the vote, so fair enough.
Yeah,
But
that's
he
why,
ran
that's why I
against-
always think it's hilarious when Trump or Biden are like, most votes for a president ever. It's like, yeah, because there's more people voting than ever. It's just how population works.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that, I've seen an incredible article where it's like, more and more millennials are getting elected into the House.
Yeah, because they're old
like-
now.
Yeah.
Millennials are boomers. They're the new boomers. Millennials are very
Tell them
similar
that.
to boomers in culture. That's what I'll say, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like, obviously their material circumstances, very different. But in terms of culture, very similar.
Yeah, our
I
poor
feel like,
generation X and generation and the Echoes.
Yeah.
Those guys are really lost
I have
out.
I have a Spencer-esque theory, as in like probably already exists, that their generational relationships are like an active generation followed by a passive generation. So, greatest generation, extremely active. Silent generation, extremely inactive. Boomers, extremely active. Generation X, notably inactive, etc.
I would agree with you. I think that may be a thing, but I think that's a recent thing only because of the impact of World War II.
Yeah.
I feel like without World
But
War II,
then
there
wouldn't that
a
be
baby
like
boom.
millennials then Gen Z?
Gen
'Cause
Z, I think Gen Z will exist in the shadow of millennials. That's
I don't think so. I think we reached far enough that things are gonna be less echoey, especially
Yeah, I
with
feel like
immigration.
I feel like Gen Z is pretty aggressive. I feel like enough people in Gen Z have got radicalized enough that
I think Gen Z has been radicalized the same way millennials have, and it's because of millennials. Gen Z culture is just
Maybe.
like a silhouette of millennial culture in some ways.
maybe.
In the same way Gen
I
X
think-
is a silhouette of boomer culture.
I think population dynamics have changed that though, because I mean, obviously there was those echoes and waves because of World War
Are
II.
you just
but
charging one unit into all their artillery?
Yes.
Nice.
If I get close
But-
enough, I can just fuck them up.
I feel like with immigration, that need for like those echoes has drastically reduced. So I don't think it's gonna last long. These waves.
I feel like the spotlight has been so hogged by boomers for so long that there's gonna be chaos. Like, not like riots kind of thing, but just like politically, the boomers are just gonna be so old that they're going to lose their the balance of power, dare I say, so fast, just from like death into retirement
Spencer,
happening so fast.
You were saying?
Which?
No, why are you charging into their artillery? Because it works.
Oh yeah. I figured their artillery would have a bit more surrounding it, but you know, I'm not that bright.
You vastly overestimate the General Grant AI in this game.
Yeah.
Thieving right now.
Yeah, I feel like the die-off of the boomers is gonna happen so fast that there's just gonna be like an entire generation of politics that's like brand fresh. Like there's gonna be like 15% have experience. And it's gonna be a little interesting.
Yeah, boomers definitely have dominated politics in just an insane sense. Just like unseen before sense. Even Greatest Generation is not this dominant.
So boomers are people who are around the age of 50 and 60 right now, or 60
No,
and 70?
it's the exact range is 1946 to 1965.
So yeah, in their 60s then, 60s and 70s.
I don't know what the math. It's a pretty wide generation. It refers to the different baby booms that occurred as a result of the economic prosperity of the post-war period.
Because I'm just thinking right now, Ontario and federally in Canada, we don't have a lot of 60s and 70-year-olds percentage-wise who are in power.
Yeah.
Right, like Premier Ford, for example, he's in his 50s.
God, I hate that guy so much. It's unreal.
So, I think we've gotten to that stage, Spencer, where the political balance is now really starting to shift.
Canada's hit that, but Canada isn't exciting, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I like being in a boring
I feel like,
country.
yeah.
I
When
like
America
like
hits it,
boring
it's going
existence
to be
in general.
interesting.
That's where my whole peasant mythology comes from. Yeah.
Damn, if only there was some sort of political theory based around happiness around a boring living.
I don't think your proposed existence is boring.
Well, it sounds exciting on paper, mainly because it sounds super radical. If you're there, you'd just be like, I don't know, making your garden look nice.
That is a very
or something just happily.
That is a very wise point in that political changes seem radical at the time, but completely passe a century later.
Well, Spencer's a very wise
like
person.
Liberalism is considered like a decaying relic in terms of political ideology now, but when it came out, it was popping. People were loving it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying about Heroin World. It sounds crazy now, but when you have it, would it be crazy? No, you'd just be happy.
Like I said, it's if. It's not if, it's when.
Yeah. When it happens. We already came up with a timeline for this. Not with exact dates, but for geopolitical balance of power over years.
You're not talking about the Amish Cold War, are you?
The Israeli-Amish Cold War?
No, Islamic
I don't...
Amish. Israeli.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Israel's already
so,
westernized.
Wrong eye. You know I'm not good with names.
For the sake of this channel, I don't think we can get lost subscriber count if we go into the explanation of the Amish Islamic Civil War or Cold War. Spencer, by the way, if you're are you interested in startups at all?
In which?
Startups.
Like, as a general concept, I think startups are interesting, and I also like working and doing tech stuff. So I guess that's a yes, but like, I'm not like following any startups.
Okay, because I have a friend of mine who is working on autonomous police drones who's looking for a tech co-founder.
Oh my god. This guy?
Red Pilled. I love that guy. That guy's so funny.
Yeah.
He can't keep getting away with it.
Yeah. The sad state of things is that when I heard that idea, I thought, you know what, like,
You know
current
what?
state of
Based.
things,
Correct.
this
Yes,
is what's
sir.
gonna make all the
Yes,
money.
sir.
This is
Correct.
where it's at.
This is the based and red-pilled opinion to have.
Yeah.
We gotta
Talk to him.
We gotta overwhelm this fucking artillery. I've had enough.
I talked to him recently, actually, asking like how he's came up with this idea.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that he got this idea because he's an amateur drone driver, right, or drone flyer, and so he started talking to the Kingston police and started training them actually on how to fly a drone, and then thought to himself, I think I can make this
No
actually easier for
fucking
everyone
way.
involved.
He immediately went to the police.
Well, he's a drone
SMH
flyer,
my
so
head.
well, I'm not sure if he.
See, I'd be down
him.
to do this stuff if it was like autonomous delivery of packages or something like that. But I guess Amazon's already just gonna do that without you.
I just love the
So-
fact that he's training people how to use drones. Like, wait a second,
Yeah.
we can take this further.
This, but better.
This, but more honest.
He probably tried to teach like 3 55-year-olds how to pilot a drone, and then just realized, you know what? It'll probably just be easier to do like full AI-based drone piloting.
It's interesting. He's not in computing. I think he said he was in commerce. I don't remember, but
Oh, if he's
Just
a
like-
commie, I'm definitely not working with him. But there you go.
well, he does have a computer
I
science.
do
pad
appreciate
under his name.
it. I'm personally trying to keep myself at least slightly on the I personally believe I'm trying to help people line of things. And I don't know. I feel like drone stuff for police is the I'm not gonna say exact opposite because I could see some help in there, but
See, that reminds me. We were you mentioned before about botany and you're interested in indoor farming. I'm not sure if I told you a story, but I visited an indoor farm, food factory. I don't know what you call it. Some kind of an indoor farming facility, I guess, with
Yeah.
my dad recently in Niagara Falls area.
Are you
And it
talking
was-
like where the gardening is done, or where the garden stuff is turned into plant-based product?
So the gardening is done.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was amazing. It was like 3 stories high,
Yeah.
and it was just they were building at the time, but the vision was it's gonna be 3 stories high of like conveyor belts, which would be moving up and up and up slowly, and on the bottom conveyor belts will be like these small plants which are just starting to grow, and at the top will be the plants and they're fully grown. And it was mainly kale and lettuce at the time.
Yeah.
And then at the very top, eventually when they get to the top, they'll come down and it'll go through these automatic choppers, like cutters, and it'll automatically harvest everything. And it was
Yeah.
all fine-tuned to make sure that they're getting the right amount of light, the right amount of water, everything, so they can grow as much as possible.
Yeah. It is. It's literally like, it's the future and it's unstoppable. Like farmers are pretty much just done. If you've ever tried indoor gardening, which I don't expect anyone in university to have except for me, it's literally like the plants grow faster, they grow bigger, they grow healthier, and when you do the fine tuning and stuff like that, less water, less nutrients, so less like effects on the environment, less space, it's cheaper. It's kind of one of those things where it's like it is better in every single possible measurable way.
The only problem with it is it takes a lot of capital to start up. But then again, I guess
Yeah.
every farm is like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's one of the funniest things I've heard recently is, oh, what was it? Was it like the wind power? When you account for building the windmills is actually like worse for the environment than coal? And I was like, what
can't
about
be
if
true.
what if you include building the coal plant?
That's a good observation. Okay, we're failing to overwhelm them.
Bro, just hire some slave soldiers.
I feel like you just need to wait. Well, it's too late now.
Yeah.
But I feel like you needed to wait to hit their like full line of defenses until you were done clearing out the stuff on the left.
No, what I needed to do, as I almost pulled it off, is push them this way and then wrap around here. But they managed to push me out. I might have to reload a save and do this battle again.
Just like in real life.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you lose Shiloh Hill, the war becomes a lot harder for the Confederates, so I'm gonna have to reload.
Yeah, I was just looking it up with Grant, and Shiloh Hill comes up a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Just like Grunt
Would you
is such
be
a
able
cool
to just
guy.
like do the base melee charge for everything in like the very bottom left, and then wrap around to your left and your way up? Because you outnumber them by a lot.
I need to actually get my men in position, and they're exhausted. If they're exhausted, they can't charge at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, see, this guy's got like
Bunch of
7%.
wimps, I tell you.
Charged.
I can definitely try wrapping around. I just don't have very much. I like the timer at the top is a general suggestion. It's not the actual hard limit.
Yeah.
Although in this battle it might be because the hard limit is the day. If like the sun sets, the battle's over. Which is
Yeah,
what-
Just attack the next morning.
that is an option.
It can't go wrong. I've tried.
They didn't fight at night much during the Civil War.
I mean, they could barely hit things during the day.
Yeah, but I was thinking it's like some of the War of 1812 battles were fought at night.
Yeah, but this war generally things were done during the day, sometimes in the early morning, but
Yeah. And I think my favorite one is Lundy's Lane, where they fought right next to Niagara Falls in the middle of the night, and apparently some people just dropped in by accident.
That would be wild. Holy.
Just fighting next to the big booming sound of the waterfall. That was the battle which single-handedly decided the war in the sense that everyone just kind of got tired
I
and gave up.
absolutely adore your boys in the top right.
why?
Just behind enemy lines.
Oh yeah. The issue is if they route up there, they'll get captured.
They just leave? Oh, okay,
Yeah, they'll like, actually get captured and they'll lose the whole unit.
Yeah.
Captured by who though?
The Union. If the Union routes them and they're nearby. So the way capturing works is there need to be no nearby units, and you need to be in a state of routing with a nearby enemy.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't the Union right now fighting you mainly, so they're kind of distracted?
The Union also knows I'm here, so they've got a unit positioned towards me.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that would do it.
That one unit on the left is really screwing things up.
Yeah, McDowell is fucking me up. Wow, a bunch of guys.
Send those boys at McDowell or whatever his name is. I can't read.
That's what I'm gonna do. These
I
guys.
feel like you take him, then you wrap around.
Yeah.
Then again, I'm a strategic non-mastermind.
You're generally
More or
correct.
less. Oh,
They're generally correct. There's just no time to get my guys in position. The day's about to end.
okay. Pretty much my strategy for any given battle game is just, hey, get us around. And it works out pretty well.
That is a very good strategy. It's almost it's kind of like ever since so there's this very famous battle called Cannae. It was Hannibal, the leader of the Carthaginians, versus the Romans. And it's a very famous battle. Like he managed to destroy most of the Roman army in a single blow. One of the deadliest battles in ancient history. And since that battle, like every military commander has tried to pull off Cannae at least once in their career.
Well, Cannae was bloody awful.
Yes. Well.
Or
if you're a
great, depending.
Yeah, if you're a Roman.
Yeah.
Have you Spencer? Have you watched Game of Thrones?
No.
Okay, they pull off a Kanai in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
the general theme of Kanai was they tricked the Romans into attacking their center, which was set up as a trap to draw them inwards and then attack from the flanks.
They basically made like a circle around Kanai, and if I remember correctly, they literally surrounded everyone and just marched forward, slicing everybody until they got to the center.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what was it? They have that essentially at the start of The Last Kingdom, which was a show that I quite liked.
Oh, Last Kingdom was
They have
great.
they had the guys make the big shield wall,
Yeah.
and then they just run up and make a big shield wall on the other side.
Yeah, that was a very
Hit him with
common
the short squeeze.
Anglo-Saxon tactic, was the shield wall. They were known for that.
Yeah.
The Battle of Hastings was lost because William the Conqueror had planned for it specifically, because he knew they would do it.
They couldn't keep getting away with it.
Yeah. Basically, his plan was to bait them. So you knew the weakness of the shield wall is that it's static. If you manage to get it out of position, you can like destroy it. So his plan was he'd move his archers forward and bait one of the flank commanders of the Anglo-Saxons to attack his archers, and he had cavalry waiting in the woods hidden. And as soon as the shield wall advanced, he like just obliterated it with cavalry.
Damn, so you're saying
So
that the entire world history is based off one arrogant, cocky flank commander?
Yes.
Huh.
Also, Harold, the English king and commander.
Yeah, Hannibal studied my Total Warhammer 2 campaigns.
Harold, the English king and commander, also was killed halfway through the battle, which also changed the outcome.
Yeah, that would do it. He was what was it? His legend says he was shot through the eye.
He was shot through the eye. I mean, that's pretty much like accepted historical fact.
Okay. I mean, it feels like a legend though. Like it feels way too good to be true.
It's just very lucky.
Yeah.
So
Oh my goodness.
Last gambit to dislodge Pittsburgh. You gotta get bragging.
Instant route.
Is Pittsburgh Landing the same as Pittsburgh?
No. Pittsburgh is in Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh Landing
Yeah, I
is
was
also
gonna
not spelled with an H.
Okay, I was gonna say it's definitely not that Pittsburgh, right? 'Cause that's way up north.
No, if the Confederates were attacking Pittsburgh, history would be very different.
We would not be talking about Confederates because it might be offensive.
Yeah, we'd be talking about the historical. We'd be talking about potentially a Canadian ally instead of a historically failed state.
By true Canadian Jefferson Davis. With commanders Andrew Montgomery.
Yeah, it's not looking good, boys. Pittsburgh Landing is just too easy to defend. Well, we'll try this time. We'll try to we'll try again. We're not gonna charge again. We'll try to dislodge them again from the sides this time. If we push around, well, no, the fucking boats are here. I forgot about that. Yikes! Not looking good, bros.
How are the boats impacting you? Can they shell you?
Yeah, they can shell.
Are there no walls to the left?
The
Like top left. The walls stop, don't they?
yes, but I need to get up here. Is the main issue.
I mean, if you're doing it again and you make that your priority, I feel like you'll have a good chance of getting there.
So, I've inflicted so many Union casualties. This will count as a draw rather than a loss, and it will let me attack again in the morning. So if that fails, I'll have to start the battle over because the Confederate campaign becomes like impossible if you lose this battle.
But this was a death blow then.
The main issue is, yeah, this does like knock-on effects that will lead to making other battles harder, and the harder the next battle becomes, the more likely I am to lose that one as well, and then it just like cascades from there.
Right. And is that what happened with the real Civil War?
Yeah, I mean, the Confederates lost this, but it was not a death blow by any means. They were very much still capable of fighting.
Are you running out of ammo?
I am. Battle's gone on so long, I'm almost out of bullets.
It's like a very Confederate problem. I'd imagine the Union never had that issue.
I think the Union has more ammo, yeah.
Union is like resource rich, right? Because industrial is health. So, were there any kind of countries that supported the Union and actively supporting them, unlike the Confederates got no real international support?
Most countries acknowledge the Union as the legitimate government of the South, so that was like. But most countries also wanted the Union to lose. Mostly because of the fact that the South grew so much cotton made it invaluable to European economies.
I also feel like a lot of Europeans didn't want that strong of a U.S.
No. Although the Civil War really exposed a lot of weaknesses in the American military, establishment that made European countries more confident about their ability to fight the U.S. in the future.
I don't know if it has no friendly fire, but your horses are getting gratitatad by the boats right now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the issue. If you get too close, they fucking grape shot you and you're dead. What are you doing? He's just out of ammo. His only option is to move in and charge. Oh no.
So make him charge.
Brave men.
It might be over. I'm just gonna run out the clock. Keep attacking until the clock runs out.
Damn, that sun is going down real fast.
As it does.
The windows are black right now, I must say.
This guy's almost out of ammo. This guy's almost out of ammo. It also tells me if the enemy's almost out of ammo, and they all are like ammoed the fuck up right now.
How would you know that?
It will say, it will have flashing ammo signs if the enemy is no longer capable of firing.
No, but like how would you know that? Like in an actual Civil War.
You would like, well,
You wouldn't.
There's skirmishers who are capable of like, reconnaissance and stuff like that. There's also, if the enemy has stopped shooting at the same volume they were before, they're probably running out of ammo. So it's just like general intuition.
It feels like this game is pretty realistic, so I feel like every kind of thing it has in the game has some kind of realistic.
Yeah, it's
battle.
like you would know if the enemies like started petering out their shots. Either they're running out of ammo or they think you are.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, this guy just has no ammo at all. He doesn't even have a shot in the canister. Neither does this guy. Or this guy.
Yeah, looking at the bottom, quite a few don't.
I think it might be time to
No, I'm still waiting out the clock.
charge or call it a night. Wait, what did it say? I missed it.
It's just some Confederate guy saying how smart Lee was. Nothing new. Do we start with the same ammo count? Because that's not good.
Oh, you get no supplies during the night?
It looks like we got some supplies.
Nope.
I need to send Trig over. Nope.
No, that would be pretty
We
funny.
received- We received all supply wagons are filled again, so we just need to resupply everyone.
Okay. That'd be pretty funny if you guys got no supplies, but the Union did.
No, we got too cocky, Confederate bros.
Would be such a great prank. It would be so red-pilled and ironic.
The power of having industrial economies.
So this is the power of industrialism.
So this is why urbanites win.
So, the game even said just hit the right flank.
Yes. If I start the battle over again, I might... The issue with hitting that flank is that you start with your tiny personal core on this flank, whereas this core starts like over here.
Yeah.
Why is this in American hands? There's like no American units out here. I'm just gonna have this guy run around in circles and see if he finds anything.
Maybe they're just maybe they realize that slavery's wrong. It's had an epiphany.
No, not the heckin' states' rights arenos.
I think, is there any other good good Civil War based video games? Not American, just any other, like any other Civil War.
I don't know. War of Rights is a very famous, like, realism-focused FPS about the American Civil War.
Is there one for like the English Civil War, for example?
I mean, there's European Universalis 4 that has the English Civil War in it.
I guess. In that case, Hearts of Iron has a Spanish Civil War.
It does, yes.
But I'm wondering if there's like a game which has just a bunch of Civil Wars and you can pick a side on each Civil War. That's all you do.
That's a very specific thing to want, so I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like the amount of modeling you would have to, like, research you'd have to do to accurately cover more than one Civil War would be insane.
I guess there isn't.
I
Also
feel like it would have to be done in like a
Wars.
Total War-esque way, where they have like, it's through the same launcher, but they have different installments for all the different Civil Wars, I guess.
I know this series, they are making an American Revolution one. So
Yeah, but I want to be able to, like, you know, try different environments. I want to be in the desert as I go through these Sudanese things. I want to be.
I don't know.
I want to be in the.
Legitimately
like, the
asking
mountains.
a lot.
Yeah. No, you're right. The Highlands of Scotland as I fight Oliver.
We need to move our actual supply wagon over here.
I meant to join in here and listen for like 5 minutes and then grab something to eat. And it's been over 2 hours and I'm so hungry.
Yeah, I ate. I'm not sure if you guys heard it, but I ate in the middle of it.
I've just been starving myself here.
Yikes.
For the content.
I ate right before I started playing, so... Cringe.
When are you uploading your videos?
Raddest channel.
No, when?
This? Like what videos?
The siege videos.
Siege videos? There's one in the process of uploading now.
Okay.
No, I'd upload it. I like the description a lot.
Oh yeah, okay, it's finished uploading.
Yeah, the description, I noticed it says, and I quote, published on March 9th, 2021, history shall record from now until the end of time that I, Bennett, am a loser and upload a full hour instead of relevant clips to the series.
Kill yourself, kill yourself. You're
Because,
absolutely fucking seething, holy.
Spencer, I watch, since I have Raddest Plus, obviously, I watch all the videos you've uploaded.
Yep.
And the one where the Legend of Ewok is one of the funniest videos I've seen.
Emox was so good.
Fully was Emox amazing, Noah's potential harassment, the super boost base boosted French, but the very beginning with you just newming around and killing everyone as Blitz.
Yeah, that was unreal. I wanted to play more Blitz after that, but I had to pick someone else because I knew that if I picked Blitz again, I wouldn't be able to live up to the standard I set.
It was so good, just hit every single time. Like, I don't know how you kept getting away with it, but you just kept doing it.
Yeah, I'm probably going to start doing a compilation of Blitz's shield flash not working.
Oh yeah, no, I watching the Blitz go through your shield was a bit infuriating.
Okay, we've lost. My entire front line is routed.
Fuck! Oh no, that's so bad.
Man, who knew an agrarian-based society like this is gonna lose against the industrial might of the U.S.?
No, bros, it can't be real. Agrarian bros, we got too cocky. Okay, we're actually just going to abandon Shiloh Field and attack directly. Let them have it. My plan now is just win. Just try to win. If I take Pittsburgh Landing, I win. That's all I ask.
Wait, what was your plan before?
Maybe try to go for a draw and hold on to Shiloh, but...
Oh, I see. So you don't care about Shiloh anymore.
I looked at the victory conditions, and it says hold Pittsburgh Landing. So.
Fair enough.
If that doesn't work, then I don't know.
Then you give up to the
the
Union.
Yankees have exposed their flanks big time over here.
Are you able to capitalize on it, or is it stupid, or are you being just cocky?
I'm already doing it. See ya, Russo. Okay, I think I managed to resupply my army.
Looks pretty good. You got a few guys with no ammo, but...
My army, for the most part, has... Is that D. Garfield? And by the Garfield, I mean the president, not the cat. I know what you were thinking, but I meant the president.
Fields in this? Does he hate Mondays?
Yeah, did President Garfield hate Mondays? Is a pressing question that we have to know the answer. Oh, what is this?
Oh, rear flank, rear flank.
Not looking good, bros. Colonel Nathan Forrest is wounded. No.
Oh my god.
Now he can't found the KKK. No.
Oh no. This has been a disaster for the human race.
This is the worst thing.
How will the nation be born then?
Yeah, how will the nation be born if there's no KKK?
The alternative world where Woodrow Wilson becomes president of the CSA. And still somehow passes the 14 principles.
Yeah,
710 versus 3,300.
I like those odds.
I like these odds. I can whip the scoundrel, as they say.
Man, are you a Star Wars fan?
I like Star Trek and Star Wars.
Interesting.
No, that's impossible, bro. I watched Star Trek once as a kid when I was like, I still didn't understand that actors like weren't actual people, like characters weren't people. And I saw the one guy do like a skydiving thing down to like this giant laser,
Star Trek,
and he got sucked into the laser or something, and it scarred me.
Captain Kirk.
I watched one episode for English class, but that's about it. For Star Trek.
Yeah, I saw that and it just freaked the life out of me. I couldn't take it anymore. I was just like, damn, this actor just really accidentally died on set.
It has happened. I remember it was like one of the older movies, the stunt actor did die on set, and they used it in the movie.
It's not the most rare thing.
Yeah. Got it. I would, if I wasn't in comp sci, if I had no care for money or startups or anything like that, I would be an actor.
Would you be good at it? Would you be a good actor?
Oh, I mean, I'm obviously very biased towards myself. But I acted in a few things in high school. Did a couple of advertisements. Did some background work. I really enjoyed it.
You did advertisements?
Yeah, I did a few.
Wait, it's open. They're actually collapsing in the center here.
It was actually kind of cool. Kate saw my advertisement.
Oh no,
before,
yeah, Bennett, what you should do is you should put your entire army to attack their center.
The amount of coordination I will need to do that is actually...
It's never been done before.
Take the bait. Go for the center. Don't look around you, just straight forward.
I'm just gonna let
it's kind of cool.
Run around back here. They've diverted a
Kate
huge
saw
amount of their army back here, so which leaves the path open to Pittsburgh win. So if this was a historical battle, this would be a huge disaster, but I can game the system.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I met, like, Kate saw me in an ad before I met her. Which was nice. It was an ad for the York region.
Like as a concept?
Like, they were just showing how York region's cool. And, like, it's part of the York region's, like, advertising campaign.
Yeah, see, I just got a notification that Buckland is out of ammo, even though he's on the other side.
Oh, he's just charging in.
Yeah, he's got no ammo now.
Would be a real shame if you were to rout before you even made it to your lines. Oh wait, no, he has ammo.
Oh, he shattered. His unit's gone. Holy shit, I just shattered another unit. Okay, it's looking up, Confederate bros.
This is like a new save, right?
What?
Like you're not. This is not the same battle you were playing for the last couple of hours. The last hour.
This is the same battle. This is the next day. It's giving me the chance. The same thing Beauregard did in real life was attack the next day.
Your guys are gonna get carotid by the boats if you move them there.
That is true. Y'all mind if the Union suicides one unit at a time into my front line?
Single file.
All the Union has to do here is hold for like an hour and a half. They won't even pull it off. They're doing it with Hazen now. What is Grant's problem? That's what I want to know. What is he doing? Grant just hates having people alive in his army.
So man, Grant sees the presidency in front of him. This is what it's telling him to do.
I feel like you can advance your guys on your left flank.
Yeah. The issue is there's a guy holding this house, which is tough to dislodge. Yeah, see, there's like a big unit holding this house here.
Yeah.
It's the amendment where if the troops ask you for your house, they can
Third
say
Amendment.
no. Third Amendment.
We're talking about the quartering amendment. Look, why is that such a high priority amendment? Why is it the third one they ever wrote? It's the one. It's before privacy in the amendments.
Of Independence or the Constitution, or whatever, recently got his house quartered.
Yeah, it's just like things that were at the time annoying the founding fathers of the United States.
Yeah, my cousin Mary over there got her house quartered.
People telling me to First Amendment, people kept telling me to shut up. Second Amendment, I like guns. Third Amendment, I'm sick of soldiers coming to my house. Fourth Amendment, I'm sick of my neighbor looking in my window.
What was it? Wait, the 13th Amendment is a slavery one, right?
Yeah, my neighbor keeps looking in my window, and I really hate that guy.
Is 13th the slavery one or 14th the slavery one?
13th is slavery, 14th is equal rights for all races.
13th one, turns it on black.
Yeah.
The 14th
I
one
have a black friend.
The 14th one had a major flaw. That was, it technically allowed segregation, and the South seized on that.
What was it?
The 14th one guarantees equal treatment regardless of race.
How does that allow segregation?
I feel like
it
the
allowed
right
it allowed you
flank
to
is
treat
very
races
chargeable
equally.
right
It did
now.
not say you had to treat them equally in the same place.
What do you mean?
Like, there's nothing in there that says you must allow black people and white people to sit together on the bus. So Plessy versus Ferguson was the major pro-segregation Supreme Court decision, and it basically, the decision was, as long as you make equal facilities for black people, you can have white-only facilities.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, so they just made the back of the bus the black-only section.
Why is
That way, okay.
I mean, I hate it, but it's clever, I'll give him that.
It was a good plan. Plessy versus Ferguson is generally considered one of the biggest missteps in Supreme Court history.
Well, is it really a misstep if they're just following if they're forced to follow the Constitution, and the Constitution is crappy?
I guess not. But the one, it was eventually overturned by Browder versus Board of Education, and the crux of that one was that, yes, it is technically allowed to have separate, like segregation, but the South is blatantly not following the rule where they have to make the facilities equal.
Yeah. It's incredible by how clever they can be with the racism.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. Like, in a way, it's kind of admirable in its horribleness.
Very creative.
Yeah. My favorite has to be, and I guess it is kind of cliched, but oh yeah, you're not allowed slavery unless they're in prison.
Well, that's because hard labor
It's
was...
literally just like, yeah, don't do this, but maybe if you want to a little bit, like, you can do it.
The thing was, that was considered very progressive for the time. Like, countries that were violently anti-slavery, like the UK, which invested huge amounts of money in stopping slavery, had hard labor as a prison sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was indentured servitude in the UK and the British Empire for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that's pretty out of date.
Yeah, it's the sort of
which
thing
is why
most countries have kind of done away with.
But it's why Daddy Musk's plans with indentured servitude.
Okay, so I've noticed in the last 5 minutes on the right flank, and the one that you had 2 units shooting at, they've only lost, I think, 200.
It's because they're in a forest.
Yeah, but I feel they're the opponent's left flank, so your right side. The guys that have 575,
Oh, you
like
see this?
5 to
this
10 minutes
silver
ago, they had
outline?
700.
You see this civil outline?
Yeah.
It means they're in heavy cover, which makes them very hard to hit.
Yeah, I just feel like it would be way easier to charge them with a few units.
I might if the opportunity really presents itself. Unless if I move my artillery close enough, the enemy artillery's been mostly destroyed. I can like shrapnel fire them.
Yeah, I've just noticed that you have like twice the amount of units that they do over there, and
They've got a shit ton
shots
of
seem
stuff
to be
hidden back here.
inaccurate, and all their stuff is on the left, and then you would get a wraparound on their left or their right flank.
All their shit is. There's a ton of stuff back here that's hidden. The one time I've won this battle, I guess the other time I played the Confederates, I just charged, and then as soon as this flag in the center turned to the Confederate side, I just clicked the finish button, which forced it to end in my favor.
It's over, boys. It's done. We're done.
Yep,
we
have
got
solved the war.
guess we'll go home.
Got it. Take it back now.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid of Beauregard IRL to not just hit finish as soon as the flag turns.
Yeah. That would be so great if it was just an actual strategy to like sneak into the enemy camp and raise your flag instead of theirs, and then just be like, it's
War's
over.
That kind of did happen
Yep.
once. War between Rwanda and the DRC, I believe. It was either Rwanda or one of those other little countries that borders the DRC. They just paradropped onto Kinshasa, captured the port, and forced the DRC to give up immediately.
Huh. It feels like there's more to it. Like there's probably like some blackmail involved.
Well, the issue was it was the DRC's only port, and without it, they would starve because they relied on food importation.
Ah, yeah, that would do it. So someone could have conquered the DRC.
Oh no, they're charging, but you haven't shot them. No. Oh, okay, you got one volley out at least.
There's so many of them too.
The Great African War, or African World War. Nine African countries took involved, and 25 armed groups. That's amazing. Whoa.
Well, they
Bennett, what was that one war that Israel was on both sides?
Nigerian Civil War.
Okay.
Sorry, what?
The Nigerian Civil War, or the Biafra War, was a secession crisis in Nigeria, where the easternmost province tried to leave Nigeria over religious and ethnic differences.
Yeah. This is insane. I'm surprised I've never heard about the Great African War.
Well, it didn't really affect the Western world at all.
Yeah, it looks like no one in the West was involved. Note, Rwanda and Uganda fought a short war in June 2000 over Congolese territory.
I feel
Huh.
like the fact that they have cover and you don't is just making it so that you slowly get dwindled down.
I've inflicted
But
at least 10% more casualties than the enemy. The issue is they
Okay.
just have such a huge, overwhelming number of men. I can't beat it. Like, there's just too many. My only option is to charge in, but my men are like out of gas. Like my biggest unit is like 7% condition.
yeah.
And like the units that have high condition have less than 1,000 men, which is not ideal for charging. Yeah, defeat. Okay, we're gonna have to restart that battle. We'll do that next episode.
Whew, I need food, baby. God damn.
Okay.